Because if everybody's running to their car, it doesn't function. And we all have to put together with huge problems in the roads, and we won't get far. And so this is what we have to do. We have to prepare ourselves, and we have to prepare the parents. On the left is the fun part, the room, for us it's quite serious. What do you do to protect home? Are we going to continue to make higher walls and higher walls and higher walls? Make it different, bigger, so that we can or are we going to let in the water? Or we going to maybe that we are talking about gaining the water from the sea again. Get rid of the sea. What we're writing, maybe we have to get rid of the sea. Those are all plans we're making. And the other one is run. That's fun to talk about, but it's quite simple. It's not. I have to prepare. How do you feel? What do we do in the city? Development. And we have to infiltrate all the water. We have to plant trees. Nothing helps better against heat than trees. And we have to improve our underground infrastructure. And we try to adapt climate, not only our space, we try to adapt everything. And we do that by education. We start in schools. Children have to know. Children have to understand. Children are working to get rid of stone our pavement with plants. And we try to stimulate people to adapt their gardens and their roofs. And how to do that? It's necessary. If people don't do it, we can have an issue. A public space in the city of Gouda, we don't have much public space, we don't have enough space. So we need the public. But people in Holland have a good mind, but they don't accept anything. The government cannot tell them what to do in their mind. So how do I do that? All I have to be really trying to make really change. This is what we do with public space. Start with the schools, all the schoolyards. We are trying to change with the children, and they accept. And children like, oh, they like this. Children like to see grass. Children like to work here. Not all the time do they work. And they like to play with wood. Don't have to be the same kind of play. Children like to do it. And we try to inspire them and say, climate adapted life in your time. We try to adapt groups of the right. And we have to inspire people. And to save their water. Not everyone has value, but we want all the drivers involved to be complete. And I hope we succeed because of the long term. This is what's going to happen. For Dutch people, this is really a lot of people are like it. But this is what's going to happen. We have to. We're good at it, but we have to step up.
Tell you what, I love this country. That's why I live here for 21 years. They are so well organized, and we really have a lot to learn from them for what concerns water management. You see me, right? I hope you understood everything. I can speak a little bit to you because I find it so important. And I feel so sorry that the mayors are not here to see this. Let me speak a little bit in French for those who are not so good in English. Je disais que moi j'adore ce pays parce que c'est un pays qui est venu de nulle part, c'est-à-dire qu'ils avaient le pied dans l'eau, ils ont tout construit pour gagner du terrain dans la mer et arriver au pays que vous avez visité, parce qu'il y a des Camerounais venant de l'extérieur qui ont visité les Pays-Bas, comme son nom l'indique, Pays-Bas, ils sont en dessous de la mer et ils ont tout, toutes les ressources ont été mises en place pour qu'ils vivent ici sans inondation. Il y a 50 ans, je pense, il y a eu une grande inondation ici et ils ont pris les mesures nécessaires pour que ça n'arrive plus jamais. Parce que c'était une inondation qui a amené jusqu'à presque 2000 morts, quelque chose comme ça. Et ils ont pris une grande décision de laisser la gestion, le management de l'eau dans ce pays c'est indépendant de chaque gouvernement, en fait. Parce qu'il y a un impôt spécial pour ça, qui est dédié à ça. Aucun gouvernement ne peut intervenir pour casser le riz, parce que c'est indépendant. Ce qui fait qu'ils n'ont pas besoin d'aller demander de l'argent à un nouveau gouvernement, ce qui fait que ça marche, quoi. Et ça marche, ça fait depuis la dernière grande innovation, il n'y en a pas eu, parce qu'ils ont travaillé là-dessus. Alors peut-être que vous avez des questions à vous poser des questions, s'il y en a. Il y a des questions tout le monde. Allez-y.
Déjà, je vais me présenter. Je suis Benoît Valérie Moncho. Je suis chef d'entreprise. J'ai une entreprise de digital et de numérique au Cameroun. Je travaille avec les organisations de la sous-région au Cameroun et dans les pays voisins pour les accompagner dans le numérique. Ariane, vraiment, respect. Je suis un peu peiné qu'elle ait faite, n'est-ce pas, cette présentation sans que les autorités camerounaises ne soient là, et notamment les maires surtout. Et je tiens à interpeller ici, là, surtout les maires d'un certain nombre de localités qui ont des problèmes de gestion d'eau. Je parle notamment du maire de Douala, la Délogénésie, le maire de Yaoundé et le maire de Marois. Sincèrement, je ne sais pas s'il y aura une autre occasion. C'est un message que j'envoie à l'endroit des organisateurs. Quand on prévoit une autre session, pourquoi pas déplacer Ariane au Cameroun pour organiser une session spéciale avec ces autorités-là. Parce que je me demande, je suis arrivé, c'est son exposé qui m'a fait comprendre ce que sont les Pays-Bas. Moi, je suis né à Yabassi, dans la côte camerounaise. Je ne savais pas, j'entendais Pays-Bas, Netherlands. Je ne savais pas ce que ça voulait dire. Mais là, avec le schéma, j'ai compris qu'en fait, on a des gens qui vivent en dessous du niveau de la mer. Ce n'est pas facile lorsque on ne nous a pas expliqué à travers un schéma pour que vous puissiez comprendre on vit comment en dessous du niveau de la mer. Là, j'ai compris qu'ils ont des parties côtières qui sont élevées et que le reste du pays, c'est de la plaine qui se trouve en dessous de la mer. Et on porte de l'eau tout le temps pour que ce soit sec. J'ai une question. L'énergie, vous la prenez où? Nous, in our countries, to have electricity, we use hydraulic, on a les barrages hydroélectriques. Pour un pays qui a les pieds dans l'eau, je me demande comment ils font pour avoir un barrage électrique, puisque le défi ici, là, n'est pas de gérer la pesanteur de l'eau, mais plutôt de se débarrasser de l'eau.
Yeah, we can also do energy. Getting better because we are just electric power stations we can use, but we're trying to get better. And to be honest, you can get your energy out of water yourself. And that's the experiment with water too. And the water, the experiment with water too. I don't know if it's enough.
But you're not a country who produces gas.
Yeah. They
produce gas.
Yeah, they have gas in gas, and they have sea offshore gas as well. Shell is from here.
Shall.
But I can help.
Excuse me, I just asked you because we can remember a good country with many resources. But to see a small country like Netherlands with such kind of experience and this kind of development makes us to see and respect, to judge
No,
people.
no, definitely we have a lot to learn as a country, right? Just to add something to the answer, like on energy, the Netherlands they have gas and oil. Offshore. Yeah, but we have more. Just to give you the answer. On energy, the electricity is built through several ways. Ariane listed gas, so by burning gas. What the Netherlands has in the plan is to be as environmental friendly as possible. That's why they have green lands everywhere that they can. They use every square meter of land for greening it. Okay, that's one thing. So they use gas. They use also very smart way of using the gas. So gas plus water together to generate electricity. Yeah, and also they have nuclear power plant. I think one time open. They have that. They have also wind. Yeah, lots of wind in offshore. And then they have, in addition to that, solar panels. Now, the policy they put in place here, the mayors again are not here, but of the when I was in Cameroon, last week I was in Cameroon, actually, and I spent 2 weeks there. And I was telling one mayor, the mayor of Dawa, that from now on we should ask, like, reduce tax on house buildings, that everybody should have reduced roof solar panels would be independent of this yeah, where the electricity is paying 3-4 times per day. So and solar panels are not friendly. Yaoundé is factor 70 really polluted. Factor 70 above the standard of living healthy. 70 factor 70 in the Netherlands. They don't have that. Okay, just to say, so Cameroon has all the necessary resources, all the necessary intelligence to do it. It is just political willingness and people willingness because in Cameroon yesterday there was an issue being discussed about the code of 2037 that we all know what it is, but nobody wants to talk about it. And that's what is breaking the development in Cameroon. Every Cameroonian knows it, every Cameroonian doesn't want to talk about it. And that's the problem. Okay? And just to let's do it ourselves. Don't expect it in any way the government help. Do it by yourself. Like you if you have a house, build solar panels on your roof. And in 10 years, the money you are spending getting energy from NEO will be reduced to zero. And then you can have a lifetime just maintaining the thing. One thing I found Ariane is maintenance. Because you can build sewage if you don't maintain it properly, it will fail. So maintenance is really a problem in Africa in general, and it needs to be also taken into account. Just a comment to what you said. Right? Because Cameroon is 237 phone code. And when they say code 237, it means the way the Cameroon is driving itself. The way they live there.
But maybe if I can ask, we pay a lot of taxes in Holland. Almost half of my salary goes to taxes. And it's okay because what I have in my hand is enough. I'm whispering. I'm listening, I'm sorry. But if I have in my hand, it's enough. I think it's okay. That's why we can do so much things. And I think in general, we have a fire it is changing. It's not always not
But there's no country where it is perfect because this is also another debate. There's no perfect country. It is about what can be optimized at each time. And when you look at the rating, the world rating of things, you can see that our African countries are always lagging behind. It is not because the rating is biased. It is the truth. It is when you take the parameters, we are not fulfilling the parameters. Uh, when I go to places, even like ministry, what I find is that even toilets are not maintained. It's just an example of really people, but this is how what we need to change. And the change is not an issue of government, it is really the change of everyone. Every citizen must change in the sense that let's do better, let's do the right thing. That's all about it.
Okay, I just want to add something. Congratulate you. My name is Dr. Didier Mouillon, pharmacist and vice president of Institutional Section of the International Pharmaceutical Federation. The water is important for health. It's very important for nutrition. And what I want to suggest for the mayor is that your presentation, maybe with organizers, you can share to all the people who need it after the PowerPoint, if it is possible. And about what the moderator said, I think after this meeting, Cameroon Economic Week Netherlands, it's good to create some kind of task force where everybody can contribute to see how the know-how of Netherlands can help Cameroon, but not only by the government side, also by people and all the business people who want. And then we have a group to see how can we contribute, because the management of water is not done only by the city, it's also government, and as you say, the energy of anybody can be done in the house. I see that in Tunisia, I have in many houses, they have the solar for the water, all the house have it. I see that. You share your presentation and all the things we do the panel yesterday say about the energy also. See, we must share our experience for a long term, not only for this conference.
Just for your information, all the presentation we make here will be in the forum. Jafar is going to make sure they are all included for access for everybody. Okay? And one more question, or yeah, there's a question there. Go ahead. Question in the back.
Ce que je trouve qui est intéressant, même le fait que les Pays-Bas sont confrontés à ce problème d'eau, donc ça veut dire que tout le monde a des problèmes dans le monde et que nous pouvons tous apporter des solutions à chacun. Donc, même les maires, c'est en fait les gens qui habitent dans un pays, nous avons tous le devoir de trouver des solutions. Un des avantages des Pays-Bas, c'est que la décentralisation a permis de donner assez de moyens aux mairies. Mais nous savons que les mairies de chez nous n'avons pas d'infrastructure. Nous battons encore avec l'électricité. Nous devons emmener nos enfants encore à l'école. Et je pense que l'opportunité de venir aux Pays-Bas, c'est de discuter pour être des partenaires égaux, pour que nous puissions connaître les défis de tout un chacun. Parce que je pense aussi que pour que les Pays-Bas améliorent leur technologie, ils ont besoin du Cameroun. Parce que c'est au Cameroun qu'ils vont découvrir les nouvelles technologies qui vont améliorer leur économie. Donc, je pense que quand nous comprenons que nous sommes dans une relation où chacun a besoin des autres, où la mairie de Gouda peut faire un partenariat avec une mairie au Cameroun, que la mairie du Cameroun peut nourrir les Pays-Bas, parce que les Pays-Bas aussi n'ont pas assez de nourriture, ça, ils exportent. Donc, ça veut dire que quand je pense on est dans une relation où on se dit nous devons sauver le monde, parce que nous allons alors engager dans une relation où nous allons tous trouver des solutions pour tout un chacun. C'est seulement ma proposition.
Je voudrais quand même corriger deux choses qui ne sont pas correctes dans ce que vous avez dit. Que les Pays-Bas ont besoin d'être nourris, c'est le contraire. Que les Pays-Bas, en fait, sont autosuffisants en nourriture et en énergie. Et, franchement, et ils exportent tellement.
Mais vous m'avez mal compris. Je vais vous exporter le coronavirus. Le chocolat, c'est bon aux Pays-Bas, mais il n'est pas fait aux Pays-Bas.
Oui, dans ce cas-là, c'est pas nourrir alors.
Non, non, je dis non, nourrir. Nourrir, ça veut dire, quand on dit que vous ne pouvez pas nourrir, ça ne se passe pas seulement sur l'argent. Vous pouvez aller dans un magasin, si le magasin est vide et que vous avez de l'argent pour rentrer. Je voulais seulement nuancer que nous sommes dans une relation où, dans le monde entier, on a chacun besoin de l'autre. Donc, les Pays-Bas, donc ce n'est pas nous corriger, mais peut-être nuancer.
Ouais.
Je voulais insister que nous sommes dans une relation d'égal à égal et que le Cameroun a beaucoup à offrir. Nous n'avons pas de problème d'eau. Le problème qu'ils ont, nous ne l'avons pas. Donc, nous pouvons être des solutions dans l'amélioration des technologies à travers l'investissement qu'ils font au Cameroun. C'est dans cette relation que
je comprends, parce que les mots sont très importants. Le cas du chocolat, café, etc. Parce que dans le détail, quand on rentre dans le détail, c'est là où on souvent le cas. Et le problème de l'eau aux Pays-Bas, moi je pense que par rapport aux autres pays, ce n'est pas seulement le Cameroun, par rapport aux autres pays, eux, ils ont maîtrisé l'eau. Ils ont vraiment maîtrisé l'eau. Donc, ils ont cette connaissance, là, on ne peut pas l'éliminer. Et chez nous, par exemple, hier, il y a des inondations à Yaoundé. Hier, à Yaoundé, il a plu beaucoup et il y a des inondations. En France aussi, chaque année en France, il y a des inondations plusieurs fois dans l'année, plusieurs fois. Et les Français reconnaissent qu'ils ont un problème et ils viennent apprendre aussi aux Pays-Bas. Le message pour ceux qui n'ont de rien, c'est de tout dire, tout simplement, il y a une manière de gérer de l'eau. C'est un exemple de Gouda, mais cet exemple peut être transmis à d'autres systèmes qui sont différents. Par exemple, le delta de Oudi à Douala, si le maire de Douala était là, il le sait, à Douala, chaque année, il y a plusieurs scénarios d'inondation, malheureusement, et nous le savons très bien, à Yaoundé, à Douala, à Garoua, partout. Moi, je suis du Cameroun, j'ai été au Cameroun, les inondations, il y en a tous les ans. Donc, ce que nous voulons, c'est une coopération win-win, bien sûr, je suis d'accord avec vous, une situation win-win, où nous apprenons, parce que sur le cas du management de l'eau, nous avons besoin d'apprendre. Okay? Donc, moi, ce que je dirais, si je peux faire une petite conclusion là-dessus, mais il y a une question derrière, c'est que, Ariane, est-ce qu'il est possible, comme l'a suggéré le monsieur ici, mais aussi est-ce que monsieur, que, par exemple, la ville de Gouda, ou bien même d'autres villes des Pays-Bas, ensemble, viennent rendre visite au Cameroun et faire vraiment peut-être quelques jours où on peut discuter, s'asseoir et discuter et voir si des coopérations peuvent s'implémenter pour pourquoi pas. Mais oui, si on ne commence pas, if you don't start, you don't do. But if you start, something may be born out of it. And that's the whole point. So I think I will continue keeping in touch with you on that, and also through the embassy is there. No, through the embassy, yeah, him, yes, Martin, yeah, through the embassy maybe we can start establishing some relationships there to make sure that we can visit and make really presentations to the mayor, several cities together. We have to see how we can organize something like that. But you had a question as well, so.
Yes, thank you for giving me the floor. I would want to get this. The orientation we have now is to encourage technical tuning between cities. For example, maybe the aspect of water management, a municipality in Cameroon can twin with another municipality, let's say here in the Netherlands, in a specific domain, for example, water management. And in that line, I agree with what you're saying. Going back to Ariane, I have a question. It's about the Netherlands generally. You know, in history, we usually say water will always come back to reclaim what is hers. Are you ready for that? Thank you.
Oh, it's a hard question. We know it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. One day in the future, in 50 years, and 100 years, 200 years, and 500 years, it's going to happen. And so we have to prepare for evacuation. That's the third layer of protection we have. We're not ready. No, I'm not ready. I have to. It's a good question. For now, I think we have it under control.
Yeah. The last one, because we have to move to the next.
I have a question to Ariane, because she said it. You know, the climate change, the diet are dying, you saw the news, and then you say maybe it will be in the future, because I think it's the near future. And then what is the talking thing about the papers, and get this our yes, and what are doing to
Maybe I didn't explain myself well, because in one of the last pictures we're preparing the country on fire, and the ministry is doing, and what are we going to do to gain out of that? Again, the land of the North Sea. That's what we're going to do. That's what we can manage. Maybe we are reckoning with that. Until that, we are hiring our dikes. Higher and higher. And we have dikes which are really, really strong, and they can fail once every 10,000 years. It's a statistic way of stating how strong it has to be. We're working on it constantly. That's why there is a lot of training. That's why there is a ministry. With other people. What I do just in the city is to adapt the city. But we're not going to. We are not. Yes, this year. Yes, this year. And the most exciting, of course, is the left one. What we're doing now. And they're thinking and the how. But I agree, if someone has to do it, it's the beach. We have to do that. We have to do it. And I just not confident in the country. And I'm sure that's trying to be we're not ready. But you can sleep. No, you can sleep.
You can trust Ariane.
Yeah, I work hard.
Yeah. And Because for Cameroon, I was saying it yesterday, no, the day before when I did the presentation with the space thing. I was telling one of the slides saying that the sea rise around Douala is augmenting, like it is smaller, like 3 millimeters per year. So in 50 years, if we don't do anything, Douala will be rise. That's what it means. Okay, so 50 years is far away, I will be there. But we are making children and our grandchildren, and they must live. We cannot leave them into this chaos. So we have to do something. So it is all about planification, and I hope the Ministry of Economy is represented here in this forum, and that the Ministry of Economy and Planification has to planify for long term. It's about planification. So we have really to stop here. It's a very interesting talk. I am sorry, and the debate can never end because it's really, really interesting. And we will make sure that all mayors, but also all the authorities in Cameroon see this. I hope they come, we do something so that people see, and if they have questions, they can come back. And hopefully we organize something where I am and maybe some more people can go to Cameroon and also show what the know-how of the Netherlands and whether we can manage to get something done in a win-win situation, as she was saying back there.
As a woman, I love different priorities. Maybe that's why my mind goes different.
Yeah. So the next speaker, just to let
Maybe just to
yeah, sure.
yeah, just to add that the video will be available on the website of the event. So we will communicate to you all information and also the presentation we are trying to, if public, we will make it available for you. Thank you.
So because it took by far longer time because it was interesting. Water management is really a big issue, and also clean water stuff is important. So that's why I do so much. But we have to move on with the next speaker in the name of Madame Annette Gerard, and she's she's a sociologist with lots of experience in working in different organizations and countries. She just came back from Uganda, yeah. So at the moment she's working for an international development organization called SOS Children Villages as yeah. So she's in a partnership and project manager for different African countries in that sense. Okay? And she's very well experienced over 10 years in development cooperation and NGOs and etc. So she will talk to us about all of that today and how also she can contribute in the win-win situation about the subject. Okay? Annette,
Merci beaucoup et bienvenue tout le monde. Merci. M'excuse. Je viens de Amersfoort pour aussi de l'eau. Amersfoort, c'est une centre de la Hollande et they say, I will go in English. Try it. They will say I live in Amersfoort. I have been working in different municipalities, but also I'm also a local politician for the city of Amersfoort. In Amersfoort, they say it's Amersfoort at sea because
yes. But when the water is coming, then Amersfoort will be above the water. But today I wanted to speak about two subjects, and the first subject is about urban mobility. The second subject is really different. It's my specialty is also on the social domain. It will be on youth employment. So if you have questions about the social domain, then please ask. But this one first on urban mobility, transportation. I think, the majors are not here, but I think it's really important that you pose yourself the question, how do you see mobility in Cameroon, in the Netherlands? And I was also wondering what are the main challenges in Cameroon, but also what do the citizens want? Do they want smart mobility, or do they, but then you have these cameras, so maybe they don't like privacy, they need the privacy, or you really need security, or do you want to minimize air pollution, or do you want to go fast from A to B? That's of course what we try in the Netherlands. I think in the Netherlands we are a little bit over-regulated, but it's a small country. I try to make a link between Africa and the Netherlands, but when I'm wrong, please excuse me. In Africa, I think we have new cities that grow fast. And in the Netherlands, I think we deal a little bit differently also with old cities. I come from Amersfoort, which is a city, and we still have these old places, the inner city, with houses built in the wall from 1378, these kind of, and we really want to keep these cities. Our public space is scarce, as you know, but we attach great importance to livability, road safety, good infrastructure, and also take good care of override trucks, and also air pollution. So when I say the Dutch model, the Netherlands is over-regulated. We want to optimize everything. I think that's really a big difference. We have a priority on mobility. We give priority to public transport, bicycles, and pedestrians. In Amersfoort, they just started with a car-free city, and that they wanted to have as little as possible cars in the inner city. So there's only destination traffic for people who live in the city, and the other ones are regulated to be outside the city. And we also, in the Dutch model, we were inspired by Paris. There's no highway through the city. I was in Kampala, in Uganda. I don't dare to drive there. I don't know how it's when you have to drive the cars and all these motorcycles they are going. But in the Netherlands, there's no highway through the city, and we try to leave the highway outside the city, around the city. We are inspired by a Paris model, and it means that within 15 minutes walking distance, everybody should reach the main basic services like schools, like shops. So that is that you walk and that you have everything within 15 minutes walking. So our model is as comfortable, as clean, as secure as possible. And they call it STOP. This is the design principle in the Dutch model. And it means first steps, walking, then stairs, cycling, then public and collective transport, and then mobility as a service, and then you can use the private car. That is the steps they are in the Dutch model. The Dutch challenges, we also have challenges in the Netherlands. Of course, logistics and garbage trucks and other utilities have priority in the city. there's always a fight with the bicycle deliverers now, and they have these dark stores, and they are also fighting. And also the challenge that mobility should be more inclusive for everybody. And I think what we also discussed about water management in Cameroon and also in the Netherlands, the mentality of citizens is very important. I mean, if you see something garbage on the street, then pick it up and just put it in the garbage. Some people do it, some people just throw everything away. So it's really about mentality. What do you prioritize? And it all starts with also brave political choices. For example, in Amsterdam, the Liberal Party didn't want to have a car-free city. So there's also, how do you want to do it in your city? That is what I thought was the African challenges that I can imagine that some people don't dare to cross streets or just that you really take a cab because otherwise, in terms of security, you don't. Yeah, I mean, you don't dare to go on the street. When I was alone in Burkina Faso, where I lived 6 months ago, I had been robbed. How do you say it? Yeah, in the street while just passing one little small street at night. That's not very smart. But anyway, yeah. So you sometimes need a cab. It's safer. I think also, somebody asked me also this smart city with, they are now trying this with self-driving cars. That's also very difficult, also in the Netherlands, because when there's a pedestrian and they want to cross the street, then the car stops again, and another pedestrian comes and stops again. So the car will not move. So that will be a very, also for the Netherlands, a challenge. And I think, we in the Netherlands use a lot of data. How are these cars going into this city? What kind of movements do they make? I think I don't know, but maybe in Africa, there's not really good data on how this mobility goes. So I think step by step, when I was to be a major in Africa, you can start by prioritizing this, creating a sense of urgency. They call it tactical urbanism. You can start with every Sunday a car free in the city, for example. That's trying to do it step by step, or use Corona time. I'm really curious if it's changed during the Corona time, the public transport. And also make cycling cool. I've heard that sometimes in some parts of Africa, they can, like, it's not cool to be on a bicycle. Also change that perspective. And looks also what triggers the most. Is it security, air pollution, efficiency? And I was also questioning, why are you so interested in this mobility part? I just had a small, there's a Dutch cycling embassy, and I was just a little bit of getting insight in the cyclist. I don't know if it's not starting here, but it's not starting there. It's about cycling because the Netherlands is a cycling. It's also well known not only for its water management, but also because of its cycling. Yeah, it's a small.
One more. Yeah, because he did not extract the video.
Oh, sorry.
That's good enough.
Okay. But you can also silence.
Cycling is expensive for people. The annual cost of riding a bike is approximately 300 euros, whereas the annual cost of driving a car is approximately 8,500 euros. And for society, a kilometer covered by bicycle yields a social benefit of 68 euro cents, whereas buses cost society 29 cents per kilometer traveled and cars 37 euro cents. Cyclists spend more in local shops. Although cyclists spend less per visit, they spend more overall because they shop more often than people driving. Cycling is also good for the environment. Not only does the product life cycle of a bicycle generate minimal carbon emissions, the local air quality improves drastically when people switch from cars to bicycles. It reduces 65% nitrogen oxide per kilometer traveled. Public space is improved by turning car space into people space. This improves the local environment. Cycling is silent and helps to reduce traffic noise. Riding a bicycle is a healthy, fun, and low-impact form of exercise for all ages. Employees cycling to work are less likely to call in sick. Cycling keeps you fit longer and your immune system young. Cycling regularly boosts physical fitness and prolongs life expectancy by 3 to 14 months. Cycling 13 minutes every day is equivalent to the weekly recommended level of physical activity. It also reduces the risk of serious diseases and depression, 40% less for cancer, 52% less for heart diseases, and over 40% less for premature death. Cycling makes you happy. 59% of all cyclists associate cycling with joy, and only 2% dislike cycling. Dutch children are the happiest in the world. Cycling allows them to reach destinations safely and gives them the feeling of freedom. Cycling improves the quality of life. It is associated with convenience, independence, flexibility, and always arriving on time. Cycling creates public space. Bicycles take up less space than cars, both for driving and in the amount of space taken up by parking. Where you can park one car, you can park 10 bicycles. Within the urban environment, locations are easier to reach by bicycle, or a combination of bicycle and public transport, than by car. Cycling saves you time. Without the need to search for a parking spot, the bicycle is the fastest means of transportation within the urban environment. Separating cyclists from motorized traffic results in fewer accidents, and cycling cities have fewer casualties among cyclists. Developing a clear road safety program reduced 1,600 traffic casualties between 1998 and 2007 in the Netherlands. Lower traffic speeds result in fewer deadly accidents. The likelihood of a deadly accident at speeds 30 km per hour or less is approximately 75% less than at 50 km per hour. Cycling encourages social participation. Cycling requires social interaction with other road users to mediate traffic flows or to prevent collisions. As a result, cycling is experienced as a social activity. Cycling keeps the elderly socially connected and active for longer. The Dutch believe their approach to cycling can be applied in other countries too. Cities and regions around the world can benefit from Dutch experience. Dutch cycling could also improve your quality of life.
Thank you. That was a really promotion of the cycling. I think that also. I think c'est cool aussi de parler un peu de mon présentation. Yeah.
you very much, Annette. That's another example of Dutch way. And sorry for saying that once more. When I was in Cameroon 2 years ago, I was in Gawa and I took the bicycle and I did ride the bike. For me, it was because I didn't do any sport for quite some time. Because when I did it, just sitting and it was always sitting. So I said, I'm going by bike. People thought I was crazy. They thought I was greedy. That's why I was. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Donc, je traduis un peu en français. Il y a 2 ans, j'étais à Garoua et j'ai décidé de circuler en vélo. Et les gens ont pensé que j'étais devenu fou. Et le scientifique de l'espace, là, il est devenu fou. Et puis, bien, tout simplement parce que je ne voulais pas dépenser de l'argent. Donc, je n'ai pas voulu prendre de voiture. Et en fait, c'est tout simplement pour faire du sport, ma santé, que je voulais faire du vélo. Donc, ça, encore, c'est un autre bel exemple à prendre. Par exemple, la ville de Douala. La ville de Douala est une ville très plate. Donc, il n'y a pas de collines. Yaoundé, je comprends, il y a des collines, c'est difficile. Donc, pour les gens, par exemple, plus âgés, il y a peut-être besoin de vélo électrique. Donc, voilà, c'est plat. Donc, voilà, est saturé en circulation. Si le maire était là, il aurait entendu ça. C'est saturé en circulation tous les jours. C'est pollué, mais alors d'un gros facteur. C'est pas bon pour la santé. Donc, chaque route construite maintenant à Douala, franchement, il va falloir que le maire pense à mettre une piste cyclable et rendre l'utilisation du vélo quelque chose de cool, comme elle disait Annette, make it sound cool in television. La télévision au Cameroun est allumée dans tous les bureaux, même dans les bureaux. Dans les écoles, partout est allumé. Utiliser la télévision pour rendre, par exemple, l'utilisation de la bicyclette, que c'est quelque chose de cool. Au lieu de regarder les soap operas qui font un lavage de cerveau aux gens, qui n'apportent absolument rien. Donc, ça, c'est des remarques qui sont vraiment des remarques pertinentes. Donc, la télévision, regarder la télévision toute la journée, c'est pas bon. C'était pas le sujet, mais le vélo, c'est par exemple une chose. Et l'autre chose, dans les villes, le transport en commun a disparu dans les grandes villes du Cameroun. Ni à Yaoundé, je ne sais pas, voilà, il y en a. Mais à Yaoundé, il y en a plus. Franchement, c'est le bon moment d'installer à Yaoundé des villes, dans toute la ville, des bus électriques, ramener comment ça s'appelait, la sauteuse. Malheureusement, la sauteuse a disparu. Et Yaoundé est tout le temps saturé des embouteillages. C'est peut-être le moment de commencer à y penser, et c'est justement le message que Annette nous a fait. Et aussi la construction peut-être du tramway, pourquoi pas, dans nos villes. Et là encore, c'est une décision à prendre par le maire et amener ça au niveau du ministère pour que la planification en prenne compte. Et aussi parce que la décentralisation, les deux ont parlé de la décentralisation et en ce moment, grâce au président de la République du Cameroun, a encouragé, grâce à son impulsion, à même un décret, a dit que le Cameroun est en train de se décentraliser. C'est le moment d'activer ce système de décentralisation et de faire en sorte que les maires et les gouverneurs de région, etc., mettent en place toutes ces infrastructures pour que ça permette de combattre la pollution. Parce que la pollution, surtout les émissions de gaz à effet de serre, peuvent même nous permettre de rembourser les dettes du pays, quoi. Donc, c'est vraiment le moment de réagir pendant qu'il n'est pas très grave. Il y a des questions?
Merci. Je vous remercie pour la qualité de vos contributions. Je voulais commencer par la fin parce que vos propos de fin m'ont inspiré d'apporter quelques éclairages et de suggérer un accompagnement. Vous avez parlé des problèmes de transport urbain à Yaoundé, à Douala. Vous avez parfaitement raison. À l'époque, nous avions la CECWEEK. On était petits, on allait à l'école avec la CECWEEK, c'était très bien. On payait notre ticket, il y en a qui voulaient notre ticket, mais se faisaient rattraper par les contrôleurs. C'était un petit jeu intéressant en fin de compte. Alors tout cela a disparu et à Douala, il y a l'expérience de la socature qui, je vais revenir là-dessus, qui a fait son bonhomme de chemin, mais qui ne me semble pas avoir résolu totalement la question. Et aujourd'hui aussi se pose le problème du respect de l'environnement. Donc, tout ça étant lié, il y a une grosse nécessité, n'est-ce pas, d'allier transport urbain et respect de l'environnement. Ce qui est en voie d'être fait au niveau de Douala, parce qu'on vient de terminer avec la Banque mondiale la négociation pour le financement d'un projet qu'on appelle projet de mobilité urbaine de la ville de Douala. Si le maire de Douala avait été là, il vous l'aurait dit avec plus d'autorité encore. C'est un projet de beaucoup de milliards de francs CFA. Et 420 millions de dollars, donc 210 milliards de francs CFA. On a eu le bonheur et le privilège de pouvoir négocier cela avec la Banque mondiale. Ça s'est conclu la semaine dernière, donc il va juste falloir signer. Et là-dedans, en dehors du renforcement de capacité, en dehors de la modification de la structure même de la ville, pour intégrer donc les préoccupations que vous venez de mettre en exergue, il y a un volet logistique avec un certain nombre de bus qui vont répondre aux standards. Et tel que j'ai vu, la socature a été mise à contribution puisqu'elle a une expérience pour pouvoir gérer ce volet. Donc ça répond un peu à notre préoccupation, faire de nos villes des villes où le transport urbain est toute sa place et où la viabilisation permet de respirer avec des voies cyclables éventuellement, des voies pour piétons. Ça, c'est droit. Au niveau de Yaoundé, avec la Banque européenne d'investissement, on est encore dans le process de la fin des études en vue du financement, n'est-ce pas, d'une rocade, et en vue aussi du financement d'un projet de mobilité urbaine de la ville de Yaoundé. Donc ça pourrait voir le jour dans les années qui arrivent, mais ça ne vide pas la préoccupation de faire de nos villes des villes réellement inclusives et résilientes. Grand projet pour lequel aussi la Banque mondiale nous accompagne. Mais si nous sommes ici, c'est parce que le Royaume des Pays-Bas a une expérience avérée, n'est-ce pas, dans la juxtaposition de ces deux préoccupations, et nous sommes venus pour nous immerger des bonnes pratiques. Donc, je voulais terminer par là pour dire, nous sommes là aussi pour venir chercher ce qu'on peut dire ici pour mieux le rendre au Cameroun. Je vous remercie.
C'est si bien dit et vraiment félicitations pour les initiatives pour les deux grandes villes du Cameroun, voilà, et j'espère que ça sera fait avec efficacité parce que vraiment, c'est le futur, quoi. C'est le futur et on ne peut pas ne pas le faire. Félicitations, vraiment. Il y a une autre question, si je comprends bien. Un commentaire.
Thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm Margaret Aliena, Douala Urban Council. I'm here to represent the mayor. Thanks very much for the contribution. I just wanted to add a few points to what he said. It's true, the city of Douala It's with a partnership with the World Bank to construct a 17.4 kilometers way of a tramway. And the project is due, it's been in, you can say, process since 2016, but in the days ahead, I think it's going to be launched. And earlier on in the presentation, there was a proposal made for a car-free day. In Douala, we have an edition that has been holding for 3 years now. The mayor of the city of Douala, each year, he creates a car-free day, but the problem of the mentality of the citizens still comes forth, because we have the problem of the bikes. And earlier on, you proposed that when we construct roads, we should create a path for bicycles. It is done. Even pedestrian paths are used as business areas in Douala. So we have to work a lot on the mentality of the population before we'll be able to reach like the level of here in the Netherlands. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Representative of the Mayor. Yeah, it goes along the comment I made at the beginning. And frankly, I recommend strongly that you use public relations, television, schools, universities to make sure the citizenship behavior needs to improve, because yes, every Cameroonian says that the Cameroonians are behaving like that, but there's nothing implemented to get people to change, and impunity is number one. Impunity, people are not punished, so they move. I mean, I know it is a big problem as Cameroonian as you, madam, although I live here, because I am in contact with Cameroon every year, and I know I grew up there as well. The problem is a serious problem. I'm not a diplomat, so I go straight to words. I'm sorry for that. To really educate people, to be citizens. I mean, the civic thing is really lost somehow. And throwing bottles, plastic bottles, nobody. So in the Dutch community, in the municipality of Garoua, where I have been, because I'm from Garoua, I know there are no poubelles, because there are no poubelles, people throw things everywhere. So I think that also needs to be organized, and television should be used to educate people for that, instead of them the whole day watching television with soap operas that are useless.
Yeah, and I think also what I said in the presentation, the first part, that as a major, you can start by prioritizing this, and because he's responsible in French, ordre public et sécurité, he's responsible for this. So.
And any other question or comment?
C'est une contribution à la suite de ce que le directeur général a dit tout à l'heure concernant la mobilité publique, notamment sur les infrastructures de transport. Je pense également qu'on devrait arriver là. L'Afrique et le Cameroun notamment ont la chance d'entamer leur développement à une époque où la technologie est extrêmement avancée. Donc, pour ce qui est du transport urbain, d'aucuns parlent de tramway. Je trouve que ce sont des infrastructures lourdes, parce qu'il y a, compte tenu de la transition énergétique, le transport à base d'hydrogène. Il y a aujourd'hui des bus à hydrogène qui peuvent être une solution efficace, n'est-ce pas, pour le problème de transport urbain. Merci, la dame a parlé, n'est-ce pas, du problème de mentalité, qui est également un problème. Mais je pense que pour régler les mentalités, en Europe, généralement, ils ont un moyen, c'est celui de taper dans le porte-monnaie, n'est-ce pas, des délinquants. Par exemple, le free card de Douala, on peut commencer par Bonanjo, un périmètre de Bonanjo, où ce jour-là, si vous voulez entrer avec votre véhicule, on vous dit, ok, pas de problème, c'est 100 €. Ce jour-là, tu veux rentrer, tu as 100 euros, on poste des agents aux entrées de Bonanjo avec les agents des impôts et quitanciers. Tu as 100 euros, tu entres avec ta voiture. Donc, c'est une contribution de ce type-là. Merci.
Merci. Oui. Je vais continuer sur sujet différent. Ça, c'est job creation. Je vais parler, je vais essayer en français. Je pense que l'employment, c'est. I will start again in English. Okay. So the Dutch system of youth employment is based on education and work. Also in the Netherlands, we have a challenge between supply and demand. I see it in Africa. Youth unemployment is very high. Job opportunities are limited. But also here in the Netherlands, we have less supply, and people are trying, the employers are really trying to get everybody also to work. But it starts with education. The point of departure is as much pupils have to finish school. In the Netherlands, we have this Dutch model that until the youth is 16 years old, you are obligated to compulsory education. So till 16 years old, l'enseignement obligatoire. Until you are 18 years old, you have the obligation of qualification, the basic qualification. You have to have a diploma. That's where they are striving for. Qualification obligatoire. From 18 till 23 years old, the pupils receive, I don't have presentation on this, receive help from so-called reporting and coordination points. They're called NMCs. And from 23 to 27 years old, the municipalities are responsible. So before that, we're trying to keep everybody at school. How is it organized to work here in the Netherlands? Also with water you have divisions, but also in the Netherlands you have it's been divided in 35 labor market regions. And within the regions, municipality and what is called in the UWV, which is the Netherlands Employees Insurance Agency, or the Dutch provider of employee insurance schemes, and the SV companies, which are the people who try to give all the people with work restrictions to job. They work together to bring employees and employment, bringing them together. So people who are searching for a job, and also all the employers who search for people who are very high skilled. This mainly works with also a kind of points. So you have, but the municipalities are responsible after 23 years old. How do we do that in the Netherlands? We have this so-called customer journeys. So we monitor the pupils, the students, the youth, the young adults, and we try to have all the youth in the picture. It's not always possible because there are children who are not reached. They are at home, they are watching television or playing games, but the Netherlands try to stimulate everybody to go to school. So school and work is the key. What I already said, the situation now in the Netherlands is that there is a shortage of employees. So the supply is less, the demand is very high. So we cannot also permit ourselves to not use everybody. So as much people to school to get their basic qualification and to get diploma. And if that is not possible, we educate them via work. That's also a new way that you work and that you have this learn work trajectory. So you get money to learn while you are working. Is successful in the Netherlands? I pose a really big question mark because also the school system in the Netherlands is very rigid. It's very difficult to go up. Also, for some people, huh? I mean, when you are a moderate pupil, then it's easy. But if you are more highly mentally, you are really highly in your, you can do more than, and also when you are more mental health problems, then it's really difficult to go via this Dutch learning route. And also this Dutch learning route costs also a lot. So I think we also have to pay in the Netherlands attention to, yeah, I think it's also translated like this, leefbloemers, or les flores sont tardifs. The people who start at a later stage what I found very more successful is maybe lifelong learning. Yeah? That you go after school, you go to work, and then you learn during the work, and you stay learning till the end. Then some other, just the last thing I think, we have also something for people, youth with work restrictions, so people with disabilities who are not able to do a full job. And they call it in Dutch Caballo or SD. But what we do in the Netherlands is that we try to let them work as regular employees. And these employees, we measure their productivity. And what is in between, the employer gets the missing productivity via a subsidy of the Dutch government. And they call this the wage cost subsidy, or yeah, salaire. I think for this is a global picture of how youth employment is arranged in the Netherlands. So we also have our challenges. Are there any questions about this?
So, yes, so I will.
Hello.
I mean, I'll leave it. I will think. Hopefully, people will be.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, I live in the Netherlands. I'm living in the Netherlands. I do business in the Netherlands. The model that you mentioned, of course, the intention is to take that model and then see how to get it translated within the Cameroonian system and how to do it. So what we see in our system is just an observation, because we want to see what can we take from there. And of course, we know that conflict, one-on-one is not going to work, and leverage of whatever we saw, the problems we see here, and we can avoid that in Cameroon. So what I wanted to say is that within our culture, at the base we have the family. So everything is structured in the family level. So it is not that we never see a child as an individual person who is the responsibility of the government, right? The education. So it is the family is an extension of what the child is going to receive. So that means that whatever you want to and whatever you want to start to implement, I could be wrong, but whatever you want to implement, it has to be family oriented as a starting point, right? And it's an extended family. And then you have our educational system, which is within the Netherlands, the primary school is free, open to a certain degree. The secondary school is not entirely free, but the books, for example, the parent and the children, and the university is almost, well, it used to be subsidized. So what you see is that, so these educational system will prepare the youth. There's a different model within our country. It's not entirely free. So what one aspect that we then use to implement it in our countries, considering the fact that we have the family at the basis, the extended family that is the base of everything, and then our educational system, which is not entirely free. And that is,
I can imagine. I work for SOS, Children's Villages, and we have also the family is the strength. So I really feel with you. How much can you take with? Yeah, I think just to prioritize that children, that the family is takes care that every child in the family is going to school. That is important. Also, not only for but also health issues, but not only for money, but for your to have a kind of perspective of the world. And I think also that in Dutch they say als je het niet zegt, dan. So I think also to say that everybody can achieve a lot without feeling barriers of cultural or maybe power relations. But if you go to then it will be then you can achieve things. But it's difficult how to. It's also with the taxes, I think. Yeah? I mean, our government has a lot of taxes, so they can pay the employers this productivity gap. Yeah.
If I can comment, it is not something we can transplant. The system in Cameroon and in Africa in general is completely different in terms of concept and also in terms of resources. The resources in the Netherlands are giant compared to the micro resources we can control. But I think the point here, we cannot solve all the problems, but the point is to present how it is done in the Netherlands. It's up to Cameroonians to see what they can pick up and introduce in Cameroon. I think that's more or less the purpose of this presentation.
Yeah, I also think that the dropout of school is very high. There's no insurance, maybe. There's crimes, insecurity, street. So if people are not going to school, then there other things are going to exist. Crimes, insecurity. Yeah.
So I allow only 2 more questions because we have passed the time already. It's very passionate, but only 2 more questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm from the Minister of Economy. Yeah, thank you for sharing your opinions about I really want to know how do you organize yourself to measure that productivity. Is it the government confident to the company, or it's only or it's a different organization to measure this productivity?
Yeah,
in order to keep the gap.
Yeah.
So how do you organize yourself?
Yeah, it's a different company. So the municipality asks, I have this person because I'm responsible for this person to get him to work, because otherwise I have to pay his lifestyle. I don't know. I have to pay him for not working. Yeah. And so they ask an independent company to measure the person's productivity. And the gap between 100% and that is the way they, yeah. Yes.
Yes. My question, I will join him concerning the child as a family project in Africa.
Yeah.
Because usually the parents take care of their children and the extended family too. And if they want their children to become a doctor, they will put in the list for that. But I think in the Netherlands, it's the state or the school that will orientate the child. So my concern is about the fulfillment of the child. At the end, if the school says no, his IQ doesn't permit him to be a doctor, but the parents believe in him that he can be a doctor. Unfortunately, he will go maybe to do bakery, while deep within himself that he can be a doctor. So when you compare both systems, what are the pros and cons?
Yeah, it's also, and then you go educating, parental educating I mean, also in the Netherlands, you have parents who really think my son is or my girl is going to reach the highest of the highest. But I mean, just trust that everybody is coming into the place where it belongs. I mean, you don't want a child who's always putting on his knees because he had to reach this for his parents, or he had that money, so he feels obliged to reach this doctor's certificate. But maybe he wants to be a carpenter, or I don't know. So I don't know if it answers your question.
It's one of the questions that not for debate, because we have to think about it. The state can say your child will be a carpenter, but you know that your child can do better than that.
Yeah.
So they need to weigh the both sides before you choose for your child, or before the state has the final say over somebody's destiny.
Yeah, yeah. I think the most important is for the children to have self-trust and to believe in itself, and to, I think, yeah, that's my opinion, that you try to bring the child in his power, and then it can reach whatever is on he or she wants. Yeah. Are there other questions, or
Yeah, but I
we have
think
to
we
go
have to
further?
stop here
Yeah.
because we have the next session and we have people lots of time. But this is due to the fact that we started also late, sorry for that. Also, a new session is going to start in 15 minutes. Please be patient. Uh, but I understood there's somebody who must leave at 1 o'clock. In that case, maybe we can start with him, and then Serafin will do next after the person who will leave. Who is that person? It's you, madam. And the moderator for that, please. Or I can continue doing the moderation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this ends this session with you, Serafin. Because of the delay. No, because of the delay, we speak. But okay. Is she ready, or I start with Serafin?
Okay.
Yes. Oh.
I think you gave it to me. Oh, yeah, you gave it to me. Yes, of course. Ja, was ook dan inderdaad op dat moment. Ja, nu komt het zo van. Het is zo gek, ja. Dat was heel helemaal aan zijn lijf. Ja, maar het is gewoon.
For the mail.
Ja, oké. Ik ga even naartoe naar de stand. Ja, dat is goed. Ja, maar weet je het wel?
Oh ja. Good luck.
Thank you.
We have to go for 15 minutes with the Serafin, including questions, please, on sustainable energy in Cameroon and all he knows about it. Present that to you. Serafin,
Bon, voilà, merci. L'honneur qu'on me donne de faire cette présentation sur l'énergie. J'espère que je vais pouvoir en 15 minutes satisfaire. Donc, en effet, avec le commentaire, j'avais un commentaire un peu à faire sur ce que parce que je me souviens à l'époque, quand j'étais à l'université, le professeur arrivait souvent très tard, c'était le professeur d'hydrobiologie, il arrivait souvent en retard. Et on lui demandait, mais pourquoi toi tu arrives en retard alors que tu es censé enseigner et les Hollandais n'ont pas l'habitude d'être en retard. Il a dit non, moi j'habite à la frontière de l'Allemagne parce que moi, connaissant comment l'eau fonctionne ici, je ne préfère pas rester ici parce que si l'océan commence, ça va s'arrêter. Donc, c'était souvent très amusant. Il nous disait, ce que vous avez vu tout à l'heure, peut-être Ariana n'a pas peut-être mentionné ça. Si on coupe l'électricité en Hollande pour 4 heures de temps, la Hollande disparaît. Pour 4 heures de temps. Donc ça, il faut déjà savoir que si nous voulons même transporter la technologie, il faut penser que l'énergie sera la chose essentielle. Et étudiant à cette époque, parce que je suis venu du Cameroun comme géologue, et ici j'ai fait géologie, et c'était effectivement ça qu'on travaille, on travaille sur l'eau, comment conquérir l'espace à la mer. Par exemple, la Hollande a une 10e province, qui est une province qui vient de mer. C'est pour ça qu'ils ont bénéficié aussi des subventions du sous-développement. Et on l'a pas dit, le Frévoland, c'est une ville qui a été créée, donc qui bénéficie de tous les avantages pour se développer. Donc, et après cela, j'ai fait le pétrole, on a découvert que l'exploration ici. Et après avoir passé quelques temps en Malaisie et autres pour le compte de Petronas et Shell, j'ai décidé de me lancer sur quelque chose pour moi-même. Donc ici, pour la présentation, j'ai essayé de mettre la navette spatiale. Pourquoi? Pour montrer que si dans l'espace, nous avons quelque chose comme ça qui fonctionne pendant des années, qui fonctionne sans énergie, alors ça veut dire qu'à un certain moment, on est capable de créer de l'électrification autonome, de l'univers autonome, de ceci. Voilà, c'est bon. Donc ça veut dire si on est dans l'espace aussi, sur le sol, on peut bien avoir de la lumière de manière autonome. On voit ici, par exemple, une maison seule qui est fournie en électricité. Alors, quand une maison seule est fournie en éclairage, donc peut-être pas l'électricité, puisqu'on ne sait pas ce qu'il y a derrière, les maisons aux alentours aussi, pourquoi n'en ont pas plusieurs? Les textes sont plus d'images et les textes en anglais que dessus, et je fais ma présentation en français. Mais s'il y a des questions en anglais, tout à l'heure, ou en quelque chose, c'est bon. Donc ici, les différentes sources d'énergie, on a deux types d'énergie. On a l'énergie qui sont fossiles et les énergies renouvelables. Les énergies fossiles, nous connaissons déjà. La première qu'on utilise intensément, on n'a pas dit tout à l'heure, c'est que c'est le nucléaire qu'on utilise. Donc, tous les pays en Europe, on utilise même pas loin du bout d'ici là, peut-être par exemple, la nucléaire et tout. Là, on étudie, on fait parfois, on a la chance d'étudier anti-nucléaire, on voit ce qui se passe et tout. On a le charbon, qui est un type et le pétrole et le gaz naturel, comme on peut voir, et ça permet donc on peut avoir l'énergie pour se satisfaire. Mais de l'autre côté, c'est-à-dire à gauche de notre écran, on peut voir donc qu'il y a l'énergie renouvelable. En réalité, il y a plus de 28 sortes d'énergie renouvelable. On se souvient à l'époque, par exemple, en 2008, on discutait au sommet mondial du développement, on discutait de quelles sont les énergies qu'on va sélectionner à l'époque. Vous vous souvenez peut-être, on parlait beaucoup de jackchofa, on parlait beaucoup du maïs, qu'on pouvait transformer et faire des trucs avec. Mais cela a échoué un peu. On a éliminé au fur et à mesure. Les experts ont éliminé au fur et à mesure pendant les discussions, les débats. Parce que si on utilisait par exemple le jackchofa, ça utilise le sol qu'on peut utiliser à l'alimentation. Nous, sur le maïs, ça veut dire que les animaux, par exemple, qui se nourrissent du maïs, ne seront moins d'aliments parce que ce sera utilisé pour le pétrole. Donc, ce n'était pas convenable. C'est comme ça que progressivement, on a éliminé certaines énergies possibles. On a retenu aujourd'hui ce qu'on peut, c'est la biomasse. Vous connaissez un peu comment ça se passe. On transforme les plantes et tout, pour que ça puisse produire l'énergie. On a les vagues en mer. En mer, on peut utiliser la vague pour avoir tout. Bon, la prochaine section d'un événement, c'est une section où on va arranger des visites dans ce sens, parce que la Hollande a aussi développé beaucoup de production d'énergie avec les vagues aussi. À côté de l'énergie éolienne, qui vient après, juste les vagues en mer, on a l'énergie éolienne. Et même pour la petite nouvelle, celui qui sélectionne ceux qui peuvent implanter les énergies éoliennes, la grande firme hollandaise ici, Steding, c'est un grand domaine. J'espère qu'on nous donne cette solution et tout. Donc, on a un peu de potentiel à exporter au pays, si cela est nécessaire. Si on peut bien négocier les vacances, on a beaucoup d'ingénieurs pour travailler chez nous. À côté de ça aussi, on a la géothermie. Pour ceux qui connaissent, ils ne connaissent pas un peu la géothermie, ça veut dire qu'on essaie de produire avec la chaleur dans le sol, on essaie de produire de l'énergie parce que plus on descend dans le sol, la température augmente de 4 degrés chaque 1 km qu'on avance. Donc, on est capable d'injecter un solvant dans le sol et ça porte de l'eau chaude qui est là-bas. Ça remonte et on fait cette eau chaude circuler dans les pylônes qu'on a mis dans les maisons. Et ça peut chauffer. Et aussi, si on fait passer cette chaleur-là par une turbine, ça peut tourner la turbine et puis il y a une production d'énergie qu'on peut exploiter, transformer. Et si on avait la chance de visiter Amsterdam, on devait voir que la ville d'Amsterdam a développé, par exemple, tous les ordures ménagers de la ville d'Amsterdam sont utilisés et c'est ramassé et jeté dans une très grande eau. Et cela va se chauffer, se brûler. Et quand ça se brûle, il y a une turbine qui passe à côté et la chaleur de cette eau-là va faire couler la turbine et ça fait fonctionner tous les métros d'Amsterdam. Fonctionne comme ça sur les déchets ménagers de la famille. Il y a comme ça environ 28 projets à énergie renouvelable dans la Hollande qu'on a visité le moment où j'avais cette chance de pouvoir visiter tous ces projets. Donc, à une autre occasion, on peut en parler. Quand il ne fait pas de notre côté. Donc, on va se focaliser ici un peu sur l'énergie renouvelable. C'est ce que je vais un peu prendre sur moi. C'est un peu ce que j'ai expliqué tout à l'heure. Comme vous pouvez le voir et tout, ça c'est jamais une donc, les navettes, quand c'est jeté dans l'espace, on a retenu quoi? Le solaire. Le solaire, un peu ce qu'on a retenu parce qu'on peut, pour la magie de la transformation, je ne suis pas là-dessus, comment on fabrique les panneaux solaires et autres. Mais on doit savoir à chaque fois que Les panneaux solaires, ça produit de l'énergie et ça le transforme, ça capte l'énergie solaire pour le transformer en la lumière du soleil. La lumière du soleil pour le transformer en énergie, généralement stockée dans une batterie pour utiliser immédiatement ici. Donc ici, dans les navettes spatiales, sur sa fonction, je montrais ici pour dire si une navette peut fonctionner de manière autonome, comment est-ce que nous pouvons transporter ça à la maison ou dans nos projets ou bien dans les cités. C'est ce que le but est un peu ici. Là. Parce que le but est un peu ici. Nous voyons déjà que d'autres ont déjà fait le chemin que nous n'avons pas fait ici. Nous voyons ici nombreux des maisons qui ont déjà des panneaux solaires sur leur véhicule. Ça montre que chaque maison est un peu autonome, peut-être partager aux alentours. Donc, ici, je vais mieux peut-être me focaliser sur l'éclairage. J'ai pensé à l'éclairage parce que je me disais qu'il y avait beaucoup de verres, peut-être qu'on avait présenté et tout. Donc, c'était l'éclairage rural, l'éclairage public et l'éclairage des surfaces, des grandes surfaces qu'on peut avoir et tout. Parce que, pourquoi j'insiste sur l'éclairage? Parce qu'on a un peu plus de ça. On a souvent pensé que l'énergie solaire peut remplacer directement l'électricité. Non, plus on passe à l'électricité et plus on a d'utiliser les appareils énergivores, l'énergie solaire n'est plus très efficace. Ça devient cher au fond. Donc, il faut être vraiment une personne. Donc, en ce qui concerne l'énergie, la zone rurale, il y a cette station que vous pouvez voir là. Je suis seulement limité à ça parce que ça, c'est mon invention à l'époque quand j'étais à l'université. Parce que l'université que j'ai fait ici, c'est comme le Polytechnique à Paris et ça encourageait l'entrepreneuriat. Et ça demandait que tout le monde puisse penser, pas à travailler pour quelqu'un après ou travailler pour une compagnie, mais d'abord penser à créer sa propre activité. Et c'est dans cette perspective que lors d'un voyage au Cameroun, je constate que une difficulté en famille et en voulant développer, j'arrive au point où je me dis, est-ce qu'on a déjà remplacé les lampes à pétrole ou quelqu'un a pensé comment on peut remplacer les lampes à pétrole en Afrique? Il n'y avait pas trop de personnes qui travaillaient dans ce sens. Et ayant étudié un peu le secteur des lampes à pétrole, je me suis rendu compte que la compagnie française qui produit les lampes à pétrole ils font au moins 12 millions, 120 millions d'euros tous les ans. Donc, ça veut dire qu'il y a encore un très grand marché. Et l'énergie des sociétés pétrolières, puisque je sortais de ce secteur, font près de 17 millions de dollars, 17% de l'énergie, du matériel, de l'huile lourde produite du sol, 17% sont convertis pour les lampes à pétrole. Donc, ça veut dire que c'était un grand marché, il y a ce besoin. Et j'ai dit, en remplaçant ce secteur-là et tout, par quelque chose, alors je suis venu avec cette machine qui n'est pas très loin du système de charger les voitures électriques aussi, mais elle n'est pas aussi très loin de notre système local. Parce que quand chez nous, on doit s'éclairer avec sa lampe à pétrole, on prend une bouteille avec une bouteille de 1 litre, 5 litres, on va chez un boutiquier, on achète son litre de pétrole, on rentre chez soi, on met dans sa lampe pendant une semaine, et puis quand c'est fini, on repart. Ici, on a gardé le même schéma. On place cette station chez un boutiquier du coin, dans un village, ou n'importe où, ou à la mairie, ou à l'hôpital, ou à l'école, et des personnes viennent avec leur lampe, ce que nous avons produit, ils peuvent charger à l'intérieur, entre-temps, ils peuvent charger leur téléphone et tout. Ils amènent ça chez eux, ils ont 10 jours d'utilisation avant de revenir avec. Et la recharge peut être, au lieu d'être 650 comme aujourd'hui pour le pétrole, ça peut valoir 300 francs, 150 francs, ça dépend de l'opérateur du système, ou si c'est le maire qui a mis, ou comment, ça peut être gratuit. Donc, les gens viennent charger leur lampe contre petit paiement ou gratuitement, et ça va. Ils peuvent aussi charger leur téléphone. Cette lampe est connectée à un panneau solaire sur la toiture. Et ce panneau solaire, c'est ça qui produit de l'énergie. Donc, il n'y a plus besoin d'aller en ville pour acheter du pétrole, comme on le sait. Il n'y a plus besoin à ce que, à chaque fois, les personnes peuvent maintenant utiliser leur lampe à pétrole, soit pour aller à la pêche, soit pour étudier avec. Ils peuvent l'utiliser à l'intérieur, à l'extérieur. Et sur cette lampe-là, nous avons mis une sortie USB pour pouvoir charger le téléphone et connecter sa radio. Donc, en ce moment, c'est un peu la plus-value qu'on a ajoutée sur ça. Donc, vu qu'il n'y a pas assez de temps, est-ce que je peux dire ça? Alors, les docteurs. Non, c'est pas pour ça. Ah oui. Donc voici une ancienne vidéo que j'ai fait.
Alternatives such as kerosene to sustain security needs regulated by Act.
Donc voilà, ça c'était un peu pour la présentation de la zone rurale. On a encore la partie de l'éclairage public et puis l'éclairage des grandes zones. Bon, là où on a fini, on s'arrête aussi là-bas. Donc comme vous l'avez vu tout à l'heure, la station, en fait, le but c'était de créer des emplois, quand bien même j'étais en train de résoudre le problème de l'électricité. Parce que chaque station placée dans un village, ça fait près de 300 lampes. Et 300 lampes veut dire qu'il faut un opérateur. L'opérateur, c'est un créateur d'emplois. C'est un emploi créé. Il faut un maintenancier, il faut des gestionnaires de toutes les stations à la fois et tout. Donc, localement, on crée un nombre d'emplois de tout cela. C'est pour ça qu'en quatrième point de ma présentation, j'avais prévu la collaboration et la subvention qu'on a pour pouvoir créer les professionnels en entrepreneuriat et tout. Donc, là, je vais seulement parcourir très rapidement. Donc, il y a l'éclairage public ici qui consiste toujours à la même chose. Donc, ayant travaillé sur cette station pendant plusieurs années avec l'université et quelques techniciens et ingénieurs que j'avais localement dans l'entreprise, nous sommes arrivés à comprendre que la production de l'électricité ou l'éclairage pour produire, c'est une combinaison de captage de la lumière du soleil à travers un panneau solaire, on stocke dans une batterie et puis on fait consommer par quelque chose, l'ampoule ou quoi que ce soit, et tout ça. Et ça nous a permis de faire notre entrée dans le solaire de manière à ce qu'on peut créer chaque produit à la demande. Ça veut dire que n'importe qui peut nous poser un problème, une institution ou un individu, et puis on apporte la solution. Quand bien même, on sait que les gens peuvent l'acheter sur le marché, ce qui est déjà fait. Mais en ce qui nous concerne, on peut créer et tout. Donc ici, ça, c'est l'éclairage public, ce que j'ai pris un peu, je vais présenter tout, de ce que nous commercialisons et pouvons conseiller et tout. On l'a fait robuste, presque comme vous pouvez voir un peu sur l'image et tout. Voilà. Donc, ça, c'est un peu ça. Et on peut mettre des caméras qui permettent de voir, par exemple, la vidéo, comme Madame disait, tout. On peut ajouter ceci autour de transport pour permettre qu'il y ait la surveillance et surtout qu'on peut s'exprimer dans les caméras. Aujourd'hui, on peut parler à distance et les gens écoutent sur la caméra ou aux alentours. Donc, les messages peuvent passer. Donc, les endroits très grands, on a aussi pensé à l'éclairage de ces endroits. Ce sont, par exemple, les grands carrefours, les stations, les autoroutes et les stades. Donc, les autoroutes et les stades. Donc, nous connaissons dernièrement, par exemple, le stade de Chapoma, il y a eu beaucoup d'électricité pendant un match. Donc, on n'y avait pas pensé. Pourtant, la solution, si on se prend peut-être, si on avait travaillé ensemble, on peut venir avec cette solution qui permet de mettre un système sur place qui permet d'avoir de l'électricité, même dans les stades ou dans n'importe quel endroit qui est très grand. Donc, ça, c'est le système et tout qui ressemble exactement à tout ce qu'on peut trouver dans les stades et tout, mais on peut y ajouter des panneaux solaires. Nous ajoutons des panneaux solaires comme on a fait aujourd'hui. On les a mis en inventaire et ça permet que cette grande zone-là peut être utilisée sans problème. Ça, ce sont des exemples de cas dans le stade et tout. Si on avait ceci, on n'aurait pas eu ce problème ce jour-là. Donc, tu l'as géré. Donc, ça, c'est un peu ça. Et en zone rurale, on peut aussi faire la même chose dans les quartiers. On est sûr que c'est un peu de la sécurité et tout. Et dans les ports, on peut aussi les installer toujours à l'énergie solaire. Donc, pour les formations, création des entrepreneurs et tout, nous, on a des modèles de formation qu'en partenariat avec les mairies. Ce qu'on peut peut-être faire, c'est qu'au Cameroun, s'il y a près de 350 mairies, je pense, on peut faire un partenariat pour former environ 10 à 100 techniciens en énergie solaire dans chaque mairie, si bien que quand les petites technologies viennent ou les petits kits que les gens peuvent installer chez eux et avoir de l'électricité de l'éclairage peuvent être faits par ces professionnels. J'espère que j'ai compris comme je peux. Voilà.
Super initiative, franchement, bravo. Et y a-t-il des questions? Ouais, allez-y.
Ok, merci. Séraphin, ma question est simple. C'est quoi le coût d'une station pour un village qui veut avoir, au lieu de 300 lampes, 50 lampes?
Oui, ça veut dire qu'on va réduire la station à un certain nombre. Quand je dis 300 lampes, ça veut dire qu'on a une station qui a 30 cases ou 40 cases. Et qui charge à chaque fois ce nombre de lampes pendant 4 heures. Donc, multiplié par environ 3 fois la journée. 10 heures au moins, c'est sûr qu'on a chargé un nombre de lampes. Quand nous calculons à la fin du mois, on a fait environ 300 lampes. À la fin du mois, à la fin du cycle, on a fait 300 lampes dans tout le village, dans tout le secteur où on a fait. Maintenant, le coût, ce que je peux vous dire, c'est en fonction des facilités qu'on voudrait avoir. Parce que comme vous avez vu la station tout à l'heure, il y a un endroit pour charger les lampes. En dessous, il y a des batteries pour conserver de l'énergie. Et il y a l'écran téléviseur. Cet écran téléviseur, on projette peut-être de la publicité, la diffusion en ligne. On projette des programmes d'éducation. Si on est dans une zone rurale, supposons que le pendant le coronavirus, les gens peuvent se déplacer, ou pendant l'Ebola, où j'étais en Afrique de l'Ouest, pour intervenir les maires. Un système comme ça, placé là-bas, les gens restent chez eux et ont l'information sur l'écran. On n'a pas besoin de se déplacer jusque là-bas. Donc, si ayant le système où seulement on charge, ça a un certain coût. Si on veut ajouter les batteries, ça fait un coût. Si on veut ajouter l'écran, c'est un autre coût. Cependant, quand on a les 3 éléments, ou même un seul élément, le retour sur l'investissement est en dessous de 1 an.
Séraphin, on ne s'est pas bien compris. Moi, je suis un entrepreneur. Tu as parlé de toi, entrepreneur. D'ailleurs, c'est l'événement création solar entrepreneur. Je vais être solar entrepreneur, je vais investir là-dedans. Je pose une question qui est très simple. Je vais déposer une station à Yingi, dans Alibouti à Yingi. Ça va coûter combien? Parce que si je m'avais rencontré le maire de Yingi, il va être bien précis. Ok, merci.
Ouais. Parce que c'est quand même un peu personnel. De toute façon, c'est très intéressant. Oui, mais parce qu'on n'a pas le temps. Et c'est enfin, franchement, c'est vachement important ce que ça peut faire. Et même moi, j'ai plein de questions et des cotations à vous demander, mais on le fera en dehors, quoi, parce que c'est uniquement si c'est une question générale, dans ce cas-là, on la pose.
Oui, moi je suis du ministère, alors je pose une question sur les rapports politiques. Donc, merci beaucoup pour votre proposition. Donc, je représente le ministère de l'économie. Alors, je voulais savoir, parce que, effectivement, au niveau du Cameroun, nous sommes dans une stratégie de mix énergétique. Et vous connaissez très bien que la région septentrionale est énergétique aujourd'hui. Et nous sommes en train de passer de ce côté-là au solaire en attendant de faire la liaison entre les deux réseaux. Dans le réseau sud, il y a de l'électricité, mais dans le réseau nord, il y a de l'électricité parce qu'on veut faire la connexion. Mais ce que je voulais savoir, alors, en ce qui concerne la compétitivité de vos produits, parce que là, on a un marché avec beaucoup de produits qui viennent de Chine. La plupart des projets sont mis en œuvre par le gouvernement, sont des projets faits avec les Chinois. Est-ce que votre niveau de compétitivité tel que vous pourriez supplanter les produits qui viennent de Chine, pour savoir si en tant que conseiller au ministère de l'économie, je pourrais effectivement conseiller au ministre que, bon voilà, nous avons une solution qui vient de Hollande et qui est capable de supplanter les produits qui viennent de Chine. Est-ce que votre analyse vous permet de vous situer à ce niveau, au niveau de ces produits-là? Parce que je sais que dans le monde, aujourd'hui, je crois qu'ils sont les leaders.
Non seulement ça vient de Hollande, mais des Camerounais.
Oui, d'abord, vous savez, on va pas d'abord regarder Camerounais, on va d'abord regarder.
Oui, j'espère que je ne vais vraiment pas abuser de leur temps et tout. Et je vais donner une réponse qui est très brève, peut-être après, dans la suite de l'événement, on va pouvoir avoir un échange. Oui, on peut effectivement jouer un très grand rôle, même sur les produits chinois qui existent dans la sélection des personnes, parce que nous, on a l'expertise et la compétence de pouvoir étudier quels sont les composants qui sont utilisés, quelle est la capacité des composants, quelle est la qualité et la quantité. Donc, il y a ça qu'on peut faire. Vous avez l'expérience au Cameroun, par exemple, on fait une construction avec un paire de 10, mais après on utilise un paire de 6. Donc, quand ça devient au niveau du solaire ou de l'énergie, nous, on peut faire d'abord ce contrôle-là pour être sûr. Maintenant, sur le truc de compétitivité prix, ce sera que je vais veiller, comme monsieur le docteur a bien dit, c'est de veiller à ce que ce qu'on peut apporter chez nous est de bonne qualité. Donc, même si ici, on devrait travailler le produit pour développer un produit qui convient à ce prix-là, à un niveau, je suis, avec ma compagnie, celui qui va essayer d'empêcher qu'on appelle une certaine limite, qu'on soit lésé jusqu'à un certain niveau. On est compétitif à ce niveau.
C'est un exemple d'un gars de la diaspora. Donc, on va passer à la prochaine session. Nous sommes largement en retard. Nous sommes vraiment désolés, madame. Very sorry that the elasticity of time has applied here. And we started very late, and now we try to catch up with you. So I pass to the next, the other one.
I am the one. Yeah. Yes. My name is Henny Dinkels, and I'm a Dutch person. And I am now going to introduce you from energy, as I think we were talking about, because my French is not that good. We are now going to talk about digitalization, entrepreneurship, and education. And I first want to introduce Josette. She doesn't have much time, but Josette is a professor, and her expertise is into entrepreneurship. And she also is very about female entrepreneurship. But with female, we also need a man to
get to change. So may I introduce you like this so you can tell about yourself, and then it will be in time, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if this is on, but
Oh, yeah.
I can also do it this way. Yeah? Yeah, oh, I'll take this one.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Ooh. And thank you for having me here. So thank you to me as well. I don't have any presentation, so I just want to say something about entrepreneurship and digital entrepreneurship. And I already saw sometimes the word entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. Are there entrepreneurs in the room? Because there was a man. Yes, we met yesterday. And then more. Okay. And the women were not entrepreneurs. Thinking about it. Oh, that's hugely important. Entrepreneurship, in my view, is about being self-employed. So you own or you run a business, or you're in the middle of thinking about it and maybe starting it up. And the discussion of today, I was asked about digital entrepreneurship. It's important to stress the importance of entrepreneurship because it's economically very wise to do something with entrepreneurship because of job creation, innovation, and entrepreneurs pay taxes. In Holland, we pay a lot of tax, so entrepreneurs are very important. But because of the economic conditions, entrepreneurship is important, but I think we may not forget the social impact of entrepreneurs, especially of female entrepreneurs, because female entrepreneurs in the world, also in this country, are more inclined to do something for the society with their business. So they start businesses, they run business also for the good of all of us. So that is one aspect I want to stress, that also in that respect, all people are important. But also personally, entrepreneurship is important. So maybe you have the motivation to start something of your own, so a little bit, independence, autonomy, having your own income, these type of things. So personally, entrepreneurship is of huge importance for a lot of us. And in the previous discussion, it was mentioned about youth unemployment. I heard the topic coming by a few times by one of the previous speakers. And because of youth unemployment, and because what I see in many countries where I work in the Middle East, North Africa, you see that the youth unemployment is very high. And to avoid more brain drain, people go and leave the country, I think especially digital entrepreneurship can be of value because you can start a digital enterprise with, in general, quite low investment costs. A lot of young people are into digitalization, so it gives a lot of opportunities for young people to be involved in digital entrepreneurship and still be connected to the whole outside world. That they can stay in Cameroon or in whatever country, but at the same time feel the freedom, the autonomy to start a business. And we need digital entrepreneurs because of our global challenges. So I think that stimulating digital entrepreneurship is very wise for every country, so also for Cameroon. And there's one other aspect I want to stress, and that is that we sometimes, talking about entrepreneurship, we forget about people who are unemployed and have difficulties in going into the labor markets. And that can be youth, because they can hardly find a job. That can be women, but that can also be, for example, disabled people. So there are a lot of groups in society, also in the Dutch society, where digital entrepreneurship can be a very good opportunity because of the low investments and also the things that you can be more flexible in running your business and the low investment costs. So also for people falling a little bit out of the system, just like in this country, we're not living in a paradise in Holland. Of course, we have a very nice country and hopefully had an opportunity to see something. But also here in this country, we have a lot of people who fall out of the very strict system in being highly educated, have to go to university and find a good place in the labor market. But that is not an option for all of us. So in my own projects in Holland and my own foundations, I also help people who fall out of the system, are homeless, who are refugees, migrants, women,
also survivors of violence, refugees that I help in setting up a business. And for me, it's something that I can do while being an entrepreneur and a professor, but also to do something valuable for people so that they can balance their work and private life. Yeah, because a lot of people, also disabled people, have difficulties in going out of their home. So they can do something from their home in, for example, digital entrepreneurship. So I think that is something maybe to put on the agenda for more people than only the women and disabled people, but I think for youth it's very important. And I'm sure it will give you a lot of economic value in job creation, innovation, but also to have young people to stay and also for societal value for your country. And I hope you have the opportunity to also visit a few nice places in Holland. And maybe also to see a little bit about the ecosystem. I don't know your full itinerary, but I think it's interesting if you're interested in entrepreneurship to also have a look at the ecosystem, how other countries are doing it, because entrepreneurs need good financial institutions, a good government, good legal legislation, easy formalization of businesses and registration. You need a good educational system, of course, good customers. So the ecosystem is of huge importance. So if you are interested and you have the opportunity, try to embed a little bit into the Dutch ecosystem. Again, we're not a paradise, but I think we organize a few things very well. So that was what I wanted to say about entrepreneurship, digital entrepreneurship. Is there anything you'd like to know about the topic? Questions you have, or how we do it in Holland? Yes, please.
Thank you for the presentation. Short and alive with pretty good point. My question is about cyber criminality, because when you talk about digital entrepreneurship, you need to be aware of certain things. So what can you say about that?
Yeah. I think it's a worldwide challenge. So we also need everybody to join in and see how we can tackle it. It has to do, of course, with legal affairs. It has to do with combining forces and collaboration. So I think that is the major thing. And also to involve the educational institutions. For example, in Holland, we have the Jeroen Bos Academy for Data Science. So we're very much into artificial intelligence data science. So you have these hotspots of people who are specializing in it, because we can't all be experts. So I think it's a matter of really finding the right ways of collaboration and really dedicating also experts to be able to join in. And of course, cyber security and everything related to it is goes across borders. So I think it's good to link up with other institutes and see what you can learn from each other. So not only learn from us, but we can learn from your experiences as well. And I think the world is so interconnected, and we need the interconnectedness for these type of challenges that we have. Does that reflect? Yeah. So if you're interested in the topic, see if you can still encounter with people during your time you're here with regard to these type of topics. Yeah, thank you. Maybe another question?
Then I'll definitely answer the question. So, I'm Bertrand Prophet.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and in Cameroon we have the Silicon Mountain, and basically it's a group of startups that actually build solutions to fix local problems.
Yeah.
And so my question, I'm also a startupper in Cameroon since 2 years, but also here in the Netherlands since 6 months. So we built a platform for agri-business value chain in Cameroon because lack of information is a big problem in Cameroon. So we try to connect all the stakeholders in the value chains. So the question is, I'm thinking of, I think there is a lot we can exchange because in Cameroon we have the problems that we are trying to tackle in Cameroon are definitely different from the one we have here. Some information are just accessible. In Cameroon, we also need to manage with electricity, and when developers are working during the day, they have. So those are the challenges that we have. So I believe that there's a lot we can exchange, in terms of because when you see what people do there, despite the fact that they have they don't have the comfort and the access to finance and everything that other companies have here. The question is, how, from your perspective, how do you see that we can do a kind of connection? I'm thinking about connecting maybe Amsterdam tech environment with Boya tech environment or Douala. So what do you see? This is what we think could be nice. So any direction, any guidance?
I think it is a very good question and very good that you mentioned it, and I love the name Silicon Mountain.
Yes.
So you already have a lot of points on that one. But I think that we have to tackle global challenges because they're global by crossing borders.
Exactly.
And because I have, for example, a Women for Women program, which is an exchange and mentoring program of women entrepreneurs going to Middle East, Northern Africa. It's not because we know better, because people think like, oh, they're Dutch, so they know better. I think that is a wrong way of negotiating or cooperating. Because I think we can learn a lot from other people, and hopefully you can learn from us. So I love to be connected by, for example, incubators in Holland that might be the same. Yeah? But also I'm part of Tilburg University, so also for young students to get to know a little bit more about what's going on also in Cameroon, because Cameroon is not a country that we're very familiar to. So I think there are many different ways of cooperating, and it's for the best of all of us.
Yeah.
Not only for you learning maybe something I say, but I can learn from you, or the students can learn from you. So I think don't be shy and just connect to people in Holland. You already are here, but I think that connecting with these type of incubators or high-tech accelerators, but also student startups. And I think that's important. And you were connected with the Technical University of Eindhoven, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's working process.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah. Because you lived in Eindhoven where I come from.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you have Tilburg University where you have the international business students. They can look from a different angle. And you have, for example, the Frontiers Applied Sciences. They look from a different angle. But I think it's a matter of trying to find your network. Because we're a very densely populated country with 16, 17 million people. But it's sometimes maybe a bit hard where to find.
Exactly.
But just connect to me as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So connect to people in Holland, definitely, because we can learn a lot from you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So don't think that we're so far or we're not.
Yeah.
We do make you think.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to introduce the second speaker. Also from Eindhoven.
No,
She is not from Eindhoven.
I was, yeah.
Yay.
Yes. Don't think the technical is only in Eindhoven. It's all around the Netherlands. And to make it short, we just spoke about entrepreneurship, but this is Mr. Paul Bessems, ingenieur Paul Bessems. And we are going to tackle everything because Paul is about education and is about connecting and is about the transformation, the digital transformation. And he is also always in businesses because you can't do anything without the businesses. You need education, you need people. Well, first of all, you need people, Paul, that's it. Yes, you start with the people and you go from the people, what you need people, and then you go further. But let me introduce Paul shortly because then he can take over. Paul is also part of the Economics Foundation, and he's also part of the universities in Eindhoven, and also part of the business groups in Brabant, let's say. But we are a very small country, so you can say he's from the south, but what is the south in the Netherlands? So You take it over, Paul.
So a little joke. What's the best from Amsterdam? The train to Eindhoven. But yeah, I'm from Eindhoven, originated, and we work with yachts, for instance, the owners up in Eindhoven. So I'm going to elaborate a little bit on digitalization, only for a couple of minutes, 10 minutes max. And yeah, I think it's a major game changer also in your area, and you introduced me already. Daily job for me is training. I'm a consultant. I have a lot of projects and startups under my supervision. But besides that, I also am founder of the Economics Foundation. We organize a durable, digital, and decentral future. CEO of Reconnect, we make applications. We have a lot of startups in our network. And at the end, I'm also going to talk about our certified working program. That's the start of an innovation that we are working together on with Sierra Leone to put on an innovation hub. And I think that starts with a learning working program. So I'm program lead of that, founder of the Institution of Organizational Thinking. So we develop new business models and new operating models. We are going from more physical context to a digital context. And we need other operating models for that. So that's what we invent there. So I'm originated in Eindhoven. The European Commission said it's one of the smartest cities in the world. The ICF said it's one of the smartest regions, maybe a rainfall development. But we have one smart square kilometer. That's the high-tech campus. And, I think they develop the most patents in the world. So it's a very smart region. And we are really a network organization. I had an internet company for around 50 people in the 90s. I thought, well, that's what I learned. How to build a business, you need an office. But we migrated from a company to a network organization. So that's what we are now. Originated in Eindhoven. So I'm going to talk a little bit about digitalization, but especially I want to talk about digital transformation. As Peter Drucker mentioned, nothing is less productive than to make more efficient what shouldn't be done at all. So before you start changing the medium, because digitalization is really changing the medium, what used to be on paper is now on computer. Before you do that, check your processes. Check whether the processes are needed. And if you look from the perspective of an ecosystem, a lot of processes within companies are not needed. We call it waste, digital waste. Around 30% of companies is digital waste. Just typing over data from one system to the other. And we develop ecosystems. We say, well, it's better to have the perspective of an ecosystem above the perspective of a company. So first start with the community model compass, and then your business model compass. So that's what we develop in Eindhoven. So we come from a physical context, the Industrial Revolution, and we're going to a more digital or data world. And we need transformational leadership for that. So if you look at data, we produce a lot of data every minute. On average, 15 MB per minute per person worldwide we produce on data. But more than 90% of this data is not organized, it's not used. Why should we produce it? So if we look at another way to organize supply and demand of data, we don't need all those data centers. In Holland, we had a discussion and said, well, Facebook wanted to build a huge data center there, and on average, it costs 50 to 20% of our renewable energy goes to the data centers. Well, that's not sustainable. So probably you only have one date of birth, but your date of birth is in 50 to 100 different databases. So what we do is organize data on a different way, and it starts with education. So data is everywhere, also for you, data from your work, data from your university, from the hospital, and it's going everywhere. So we produce a lot of data, but it's not organized in a good way. And that's what we do. So the importance of data is disproportional to the attention of it. And our basic question is, what are data? It's a representation, an abstraction of our human world. And then the question is, how can you organize supply and demand of data? Some people call it data science. It's okay for me, but we call it data-driven organizing. Take the data as perspective once you company of your government. And a lot of people talk about big data, but big data is like rule oil, you have to refine it. Rich data is like yesterday, you can use it. So every aspect of our human world, what we see, what we can feel, we can translate it in digits in zeros and ones. So maybe you heard of tokenization or NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Everything in our physical world, transport service, for instance, or the course or the Mona Lisa or a house, you can translate it in, we call it a token or a digital twin. So everybody also, I have a length, I have color my eyes, you can put it in data. And then it's easy to organize supply and demand of data. So we call it digital twin. So everything in the physical world can be translated into digital ones. And after that, it's very easy to organize. So we call it tokenizing of digital assets. Maybe President Biden signed a tweet a couple of weeks ago. He said, well, we have to do this, we have to do a better job than we did on the internet. So we're now developing an infrastructure, a data infrastructure based on blockchain technology for a better exchange of digital assets. More democratic, more decentralized, not only 5-6 companies. So that's what we do. Organizing data is about Internet of Things. What about it? Blockchain. Blockchain is a very secure way to store data. So once you agree on the temperature of this room, for instance, you can't change it to your level. So blockchain is a very secure shared reality you can develop. And then you have tokenization and AI. So that's what we do in Eindhoven. And from this perspective, we, together with Antoinette, we built a learning working program for students who work on this theme. So that's what we do with Sierra Leone. We built startups and part of it. And the start of this innovation hub is our learning working program. Normally, it's a working program for around half a year. So 1 day a week they have courses, and 4 days a week they have assignments. So in this course, they learn how to organize data. Yeah. So that's my talk. So everything we do, it's our baseline also from the Economic Foundation, driven by social innovation and powered by technology. So everything we do should have something good for the society. Okay. So, and if you look at data and use cases, it's all over. Previously, there was talk, it was in French, couldn't follow it completely, but I think it was also about energy. So a blockchain is very good in supply and demand of energy in a decentral way. So we have a lot of use cases in all kinds of contexts. So if you have questions about it, don't hesitate to ask me, and also Antoinette. Thank you very much. Questions?
Any questions about this topic? No?
Any question? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so digitalization, I think, is a big opportunity for Africans and South Americans, where let's say that they are lagging behind in terms of poverty and that kind of situation. And it's a huge opportunity for the youth because young people are so inventive nowadays, and this technology, as I was saying 2 days ago, people jumped from no telephone in villages. Now they have Android telephones directly, and some of them are illiterate, but they can use. So it has to be also user friendly and so forth. Yeah, so this initiative of going the route we are going is a great one because we too, in, for example, Earth observation data, we have petra data per day coming from satellites for agricultural use, but coastal, also water raising and deforestation, etc., all these applications. And lately, I was confronted with somebody who invented actually an application which was just looking, a tourist passing by takes a picture of the tree, and if the tree is sick and it goes into the data storage facility in the cloud somewhere, and that cloud system has an artificial intelligence in it, it can actually localize the place and then monitor how the disease can spread and that kind of thing.
Correct. If we use it the right way, we can solve a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But we have to organize the data.
Talking about that. The impact of tourism with education, if the use of information in the other tourism.
But also, I'm going to talk about it's Africa has an advantage because in Europe we have a lot of legacy systems. So I think in Africa 90% is unbanked, but we don't use the bank.
Yeah.
So on the blockchain you can pay money from the phone. So we have to unlearn a lot in Europe, and we have to reorganize a lot. There are a lot of legacy systems. So I think we have an advantage. That's why we're working on this.
I guess the lady back, she also we talked a little bit about it, and she said,
Yeah.
okay. And she also said, okay, we educate, of course, people in Cameroon, and we also have youth in Cameroon, of course, but if they are educated and they know that they don't have a job, why should they educate themselves? So I think the thing is in Cameroon, as I found out, I think the connection should be with the government and with the education systems and with the businesses. That's why Paul and myself and Antoinette, I always say, okay, you have to educate and you have to have the government in place, of course, and you have to respect the businesses. So those things are needed. Any other question?
Yes. Paul,
Yes.
Didier Moyan, thank you for the presentation about digitalization. And very pharmacist in the International Pharmaceutical Federation. Very important data about the medical system and about the drugs, take drugs, and can help the drugs to fight compensation.
Yes, sure. Yes,
Okay. I am also a board member of company design, which is in my French, better than English. Of course, design is K, E, Y, Z, A, S, E. K, E, I, yes, Z, A, N, D. You can download it on Android. We make that app with other Cameroonian of Angola and also Cameroonian of Cameroon and other African who work all these companies because there are a lot of apps. And then we see we can make one app where we put everything inside, help you for putting your what you sell inside, help you to communicate with family and also socialize people and also put your business profile to make one app. And we say, how can we go with this technique for combination with Netherlands? Win-win. How can we communicate with you, your way economics and other who are in that good utilization of digitalization to make known our app in Netherlands? Now we already have 20,000 people in the world who are download our app. Not many in Netherlands. We want to take this opportunity to work with you, your hub, to make grow our app to develop not only in Cameroon, develop in the US, in India, but people and in Cameroon and universities. But we would like to see how to make known better our app and show how we can communicate.
Oh, you have my number, just call me. Yeah. But one last thing what we do also on blockchains, for instance, fake news is a huge problem at the moment, propaganda. So if you have a secured camera, GPS and timestamp blocked, and I have to make a picture here and I hash it on the blockchain, you always knew that this is the origin. So you can't fake news. So if you are smart about it and say it should be societal and not business driven, I think we can do a lot of things with these new technologies. Thank you.
Anyone want one question? Thank you. So this presentation was just amazing for me. So thank you very much for that. So good thing I'm also from Eindhoven. So my question is, so as I mentioned before, we have a platform where we collected since the last 6 years information about farmers in Cameroon. So, and since we connect the whole value chain, we have information about farmers, we have information about food processors, we have information about a transporter, I mean, all the stakeholders until consumers. We even have an application for recipes and everything. So we also have habits of people to do things. And we are thinking since 2 years on how to move it towards, I would not say Web 3.0 yet, but I mean, towards that direction and thinking about how we structure the blockchain and everything. So I have 2 questions. The first one is to say, what do you have any project, can you share what is being done here, for instance, in terms of agriculture related to the topic? And the second is to say, how can we, what would be the best direction in order to kind of collaborate in this sense?
We do things on provenance, so going back to the origin of food, for instance. We also have conditioned transport. We put it in smart contracts. So in order to have stroopwafels, maybe you taste them. But if you go above 30 degrees, you can't use them anymore. You can't eat them. But we work with smart contracts, but also going back to the provenance. I think in the United States, per year, $55 billion are spent on going back to the origin of food. So that's a lot of application. Well, how we work is we have this learning working program, and we always start with an exploration assignment from a company or a group of companies. They put it in our program, and from that we have a kind of transformation program to go to the new world, which, in our opinion, will be durable, digital, and decentral. So the decentral character is very important for us. We don't need big companies.
Exactly.
We have communityship, and we have technology to work peer-to-peer with each other. The only thing we need is an internet connection.
Okay. Thank you.
No more questions?
It's, yeah, drink it. Yeah.
Thanks, Vinci.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you for everything. And everybody spoke so fast, so I'm glad that everything is taped. So you can rewind it many times. And now I'd like to introduce Rosie. Oh, no, she is.
Okay.
No, it's the only time but it is a French last name. Yes. But she prefers to speak English on this topic. So now we go, to the gender gap in digitalization, because everybody thinks that that's something which men only can do. But for sure, men or women, everybody can be in digital. So if you like to be in that, go ahead. And Cecweeek, yes. May I say, okay, tell something about yourself?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I think a lot of topics have passed about digitalization, entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur. I started my first company when I was 37, a consulting company, and we helped, as Paul just said, in Holland we have a lot of large organizations with lots of legacy. And there's actually still these large organizations are having a lot of problems of making this digital transformation, and it actually means the business and IT integration. So that's something I had a consulting firm about for 10 years. And
then there came a point in my career, and I thought, I noticed that there were very, very few women in the field of digital technology. And that really struck me because I think it's a field with a lot of opportunities, opportunities for everyone. And when we talk about all the things that, new technologies, data-driven innovations, and you name it, you need women and men in that process. I don't know if you know the story about Google. They did something with face recognition, and they developed that with only white men. Well, you can imagine what the result was, because it did not recognize women, it did not recognize people of color. You need, and also in the pharmaceutical world, when you start, and Paul knows a lot more about that, but you need diverse people to ask the right questions when you develop an algorithm. So anyway, I looked at a lot in all the reasons at one point why we have so few women in this field. Now I can talk about this for an hour. I won't. I'm not sure if you're interested. You can always contact me. But I think in general, and especially in the Netherlands, I mean, you may think we're a very progressive country, but when it comes to women in work, and women especially in technology, we lag so far behind. And I know we have very good education, but our education at the moment, it doesn't prepare the young people to work in this digital field. And especially the girls. We in the Netherlands, we stereotype the highest in the whole world that this subject around STEM, technology, engineering, and math is something for men and not for women. We probably won't believe it, but it's true. So we have very few role models, female role models, working in the field. Within the organizations, the top level, everyone in this field is 90% of the chief information officers, the IT directors are men. And that doesn't make it very attractive for the young women to join. So that was just an introduction of, so this is a picture of not so long ago, actually. This is what creates the image of this field in the Netherlands, and maybe also in other countries. I'm not sure how this is, and I totally agree with Paul. You have an enormous advantage because you do not have all this legacy, and you can actually almost start from scratch. This is just a picture where I just said, we stereotype in the Netherlands. This has been done research by Northwestern University in America. I think it's pretty embarrassing, actually, but I can not show you. Now, I decided in 2010, I launched my first book, actually representing, showing, talking about women in the field, just to make and change the image of the field. I think it's we need to start showing everyone that it's not just the field for men. So I think that's an important message for everyone. Then I think what you see here is just a lot of initiatives I took over the years. As an entrepreneur, I said, okay, I'm going to take one initiative every year to make and help a change. Now, a lot of people ask me why I do this. It came by age. I think, there comes a point in your career when you want to do something meaningful. So from a social perspective, I think this is very important. Also from an economic perspective. And, especially for the younger women, for the younger generation. I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'll show you, a lot of books, career guides. I do a lot of speaking on students, for student organizations, but also within organizations. helping and guiding them because everybody, we've got an enormous digital talent gap. We've got in the Netherlands 150,000 jobs which cannot be filled. Of course, what I see, and I'll come to show you what I created, a platform, a career development and mentorship platform, and I see already 10% of women internationally joining this platform. So for women within your country, it's very easy to access. Now, this is what Right Brain. So in 2014, officially I started Right Brains, and you know, I always thought we need to bring in the C into IT. And the C was for collaboration, communications, creativity, and they're the, you know, they're the competencies of the right brain, which women can bring to the table. And I'm not saying that men do not have them, because they do. But it's just, you know, has to do. But in general, of course, I'm generalizing, but it's, you know, it's good to include. I mean, everything in IT, technology. Yes, we need the smart people to build it, but it's a people business. And when we talk about data, it's all about people. It's about people developing the products, about people, and we really need diversity. We need diversity. It's driven by socioeconomic purpose, as I said. This is what we've done. We've written more than 100 stories to help change and inspire women about the opportunities in this field. So a lot of storytelling, and you can find that on our website. I developed about education. You know, we talked a lot about education. In the Netherlands, it's also known that women, when they grow in their career and they are working in this field, they also leave the field. So I thought, let's start and develop an educational program which will actually help these women from a content perspective and leadership perspective to help them stay in the field and grow as, you know, grow as leaders. I've so far educated 100 women from all sorts of organizations. Now, this is what I'm excited about. It's my platform, because this is something that reaches the whole world. You know, we talked about globalization, about data, and I don't know if it works, but can I, if I press on how does that work? Phone? On computer, so that it will start.
Oh, on computer.
Is it on internet?
Yes, the computer is connected.
Is the computer connected to internet? And what are you interested to see what the platform looks like? Yeah? Maybe let's go to this, go to internet. Let's go to
What is the problem? Am I available to help? You just explain.
yeah, but what I will do, I will show you the platform. So when you are interested, the whole platform is based on connecting, asking each other questions, helping each other, and of course there's also like Henry said, there's organizations involved because we're giving them also access to this database of women. Women can, apply or apply for internships. And so this is for those who are interested in my email address. So, I won't show you my password.
It's just slow.
Right? So,
Computer oriented. Maybe workaholic.
okay. So what you see here is after you've actually created an account, and by creating, you tell what kind of interest you are, like if you're interested in data or if you're interested in artificial intelligence or whatever. And it asks you if you want to be matched. So it works a bit like a dating app, sort of. It asks you if you want to be matched as a mentor or a mentee or as a member. And then it, through a simple algorithm, you are matched. So I did that, of course. I have an account. And then how did I go down? Yeah. So here is in my profile. So this is your dashboard. Because we have, oh, yeah, that was pretty quick. So these are my best metrics. So you can connect with them on the platform. What we also have here is career opportunities. So we've got companies, organizations, actually supporting this initiative. And if you go to, for example, Deloitte is one partner, you can also meet the women from Deloitte as ambassadors. I'm sorry, I don't normally do this with their amounts. So these are, you can connect with them. You can also add events. So if you have specific career events as a company, and they will show up in the general event. And if you are interested for you can also sign note open. These are the educational programs. I also work with partners. We have a mentoring program, events, and what I said, this of course is local. But if you are an organization and you are organizing events, they will show up here as well. And of course, we do. I think, from an international perspective, we are growing this platform. Let me go back. This platform exists now since the end of, what did I say, September, October 2020. And there's now almost like 800 women who have signed up, students of all ages. And so it is growing, and I'm very interested. If you looked at, the stereotyping in the Netherlands, honestly, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm trying, but I think there's actually a lot more opportunity in other countries than in the Netherlands. But of course, I got starting here, and it's like this process of first we do this, we test it, because we go and develop for the entrepreneurs and the technology people, it's not one thing you just put down. And but I really hope to grow this platform internationally, also to help other women, educate other women, through women by women. And this is what I've created. I think
or women, I don't know. If you have questions, please let me know. Are there questions for Peter? Any questions?
I have.
You have questions. Yes. I said to Henry, I'm not sure if you are interested in this, but
it's been paid.
yeah, no, but I mean,
And there's
you're here today.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally, I have a huge interest because I have two daughters.
Yes.
Yeah. And we debate on this very often, and I was sending pictures actually of what we were doing to my daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. And my point was more, it's great what we're doing and, for women in particular, and trying to raise them up and so forth. And I was thinking, actually, if young people here of all kind of gender, they can also think of minorities in general, also in Holland, in France, everywhere. Uh, Minorities, they used to show minority people more like sport, in football, we are champion, music, and that kind of thing. But in technology, there are lots of them you have seen. The one who was standing here, but also another one, the one who showed videos to you. But it's so difficult to see them in the public, and so it looks like we are only football players and sport nights. So it's similar. I feel exactly what women feel in that sense, and even transformed me into a feminist, actually to support gender equality and
Yeah,
so it's. I just wanted to say it's great what you're doing. Really.
I mean, I'm a marketeer.
Yeah.
I've worked in digital technology for 25 years, and the progress, of actually people and talent development is going so slowly, and the organizations they're investing a lot in marketing communication, they're selling their products, or they're spending a lot of money in innovation and building products. And the speed of technology is so huge, and what they're forgetting and have been forgetting over the last 10, 20, 15 years, because it's actually putting budget and money in marketing communications of building a talent pool.
Yeah.
And so it's in Holland there's large organizations, I'm not going to the names, but in 4 years, 40% of their employees are going to retire. And we already have an enormous lack of talented technology, technology. And what surprises me always is that there's a lot of focus on building new products and digitalization, and a lot of money is spent there, but there's a lack of money spent on actually building the talent. We need people, and I think in every country there's an enormous opportunity if you are able also, towards the younger generation. And of course, I focus on women, and why? Because you saw the percentage. So my reasoning as a marketeer is within the talent group of women, there's an enormous potential of which is at the moment not used. So that's a big reason why to focus on women. Besides, of course, the fact that we need more development. I mean, it's necessary. When we look at the development of new products and data and the speed of technology. There's a lot to do everywhere, I think. Yes, you have the question.
Not really a question, but thanks very much for the brilliant presentation. I think the digitalization of women is very important because, like in the African context, I think the gender development roles in women a lot in this field. I work in training women and youth, and it's very rare to see women who come up from training and women technology course. Most of them are more concerned in things that are women related, both maybe something in catering, fashion, and all of that. So I've taken your address and I'll keep in contact with you to see how I can encourage some of these women to get into digital technology
Well,
and train them in that field too.
we do, well, I mean, not everything we organize regarding events is live. So we have our mentoring program is most of it is online, but you can organize something like that yourself. Um, but we organize tech talks regularly, and that's online. So we talk about all sorts of tech developments, and I try to put as much as possible women on the stand who talk about it, just to inspire the younger generation. Yes.
But I also learned this week that a lot of people from Cameroon are studying here in the Netherlands. So perhaps there are also women who study in IT. So it should be also nice to connect with them, I think, and ask them to join perhaps that platform so that you make your own platform over there. And then you can show also that it's not only catering or other things, but that IT is really also for women. Eh? But again, then you need government and you need everybody. You have a question? Oh, you already have. Okay.
Well, I don't necessarily agree because I've been doing this now for 10 years and our government is trying. But I think it's really entrepreneurs who are going to make a difference. So, yeah.
Always. Businesses are always.
All right. Thank you. What? All right. So my name is Landry Kamoni. I'm the chairman and director partner for those technologies. I live in the US. I'm also in Microsoft. So basically, I'm also an employee with Microsoft. So I've been in the ICT technology for the past 20 years. So basically, we have a project in Cameroon, and of course, we want to be the first company to build computer made in Cameroon, made in Africa. So I'm currently gathering all the documents and everything going to the government of Cameroon. I'm in the process of hiring people in Cameroon. And gender parity is something that very dear to me because during my whole career, there were less than 5% of women, especially in software development and everything that has to do with IT, infrastructure, and everything. So I was wondering how we could partner together so we can put together a roadmap that would definitely help me to find the right talent, but keeping in mind the gender balance. That's something very important. So we connect.
Yeah, connect with me and
Thank you for the presentation.
you're welcome.
That's good. Yeah, I just want to say that I will join the gen. I think people can hear me. So what? Thank you. I just wanted to mention I will join the gentlemen to connect together because you said there are Dutch people really I'm one of those who study computer science here and work in the IT field for most of the time. And indeed, that initiative, gender parity, is something that is also here. I am part of a leading organization which fights anti-racism and also promote these kind of studies. So yeah.
Looking forward to
Yeah.
connecting. Yeah. I would, by the way, you said you can start your
own platform, but I must say, I think building a platform, and I know I'm a good salesperson, I'm a good business developer, but for this subject, it's been that. It's really been a journey. Also, finding a sustainable business model. I know more than 110 platforms they fail. It's not easy. So I think we should try to build a platform together and see what you can locally, for example, what you said, what you can actually locally do, which we can just, my goal is not to become rich, but my goal is to have like a marketplace where everybody can use, and especially meet each other, learn from each other. Building a platform is difficult. I'm coaching entrepreneurs at the Erasmus here in the Netherlands on their course Entrepreneurship. This week I had 12 groups of students, and it was very funny. All of them wanted to start a platform. And my first question was, okay, where are you going to get the initial financing from? Now, once you have the initial financing, it can be an investor, or in my case, I had 6 very nice companies who helped me invest. But then there comes a point where you have, you're growing your users, but then there comes a point where you have to engage your users constantly so that they stay with you. It's really, it's been a journey. Let's put it that way. But I love it, and I'm especially doing this for younger generation.
No more questions. Okay, I think this is it.
Is there.
What I have, I love the 1906 from after my strength is to look for finance in different sectors. But what is interesting to know is that in terms of the European Union or the government, the focus is to put digitalization, energy is one of the interests of financing on the continent. So when we thought about creating the innovation hub in Sierra Leone, was to mobilize support so that those people back home who need to venture into this digitalization, because with the donor finance digitalization, we have to understand what does that practically mean for the people back home. How do I get in? How do I take the opportunity? So the innovation hub that we are setting up in Sierra Leone is not really that we are digital, but is to call those who want to go to the digital world, connect them with the right finance, connect them with the right donors, is try to see their project and identify where it can be. So I think when we started, even the 3 of us, we knew each other and we just said, let's start our own platform, just 3 of us, exchange idea, and we are in 3 different sectors so that we can see how we can connect even here and create from this conference a digital platform that with all these wonderful people that we have met, the idea we have exchanged, don't just waste. And so there's a lot of potential in this room. Unfortunately, we are jumping from one to another language, but I think it's a momentum for this conference to end up by uniting those people who are here and continue to exchange.
Thank you. Okay, this is the final part, and I think I have to say a little bit about myself, because I did not introduce myself, and you see me around here a lot. And that's because the ambassador also asked me to assist her on things. And mainly that is business to business. So I'm an international advisor, and I am also an advisor of managing directors, and I advise on international trade, and I bring businesses together from the Netherlands to other parts of the world, but also the whole world, because I come from logistics and supply chain, so I've seen almost every product which is there, or any business, and so I can assist anyone in what they want. So feel free to also contact me. Can be done through the embassy, of course. And well, my main goal is always that what I love to have is that people can live where they were born, and that they have enough to live from, and that they can prosper, and that they can be happy. That's my main goal. And for that, you need a solid government. You need, well, you start with the people, as Paul said. The people are the most important. What do they want? And then you need education. Education is key, because you can bring the products to a country, but if you don't have the people who can handle that, then you have nothing. And you also need money, of course, and finance is also big with Antoinette. So I say, if you need assistance, don't hesitate to call us. Okay, thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the presenters we arranged. And yes, you still have a question?
I want to, we said we could contact you through the ambassador. Can we contact you directly?
You can also directly, yes,
We
of
have your
course.
business card.
Yes, if you give me your business card,
Yeah, we can do that.
then I will
later.
connect with
One
you
week.
after the week, because I stay with you the whole week, so almost the whole week. So that's why I loved also the water management presentation, because yesterday the mayors were at the water refinery.
Yeah.
So they were very impressed, and I think when they see the water management slides and hear the talks, then they can also see it from their small town or villages, how they can handle that. So, so all interconnects.
Exactly.
So you can't say I have a business only in this product, because the people are the products, to be honest. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for participating in this morning's session. I want to thank the participants, the panelists, and especially Dr. Ami for facilitating the two sessions. Thank you so much. Now, we will resume at 3 p.m. with brain drain and related issues. There's also going to be